diligently working to resolve the matter. Some reports say that it's a third-party vendor that is the issue. But again, if you're having a problem with your bank logging onto your accounts or using Zelle today, that is what's going on. Well, the month's job report is out, and it's better than what was expected. Jim Ryan has a look at the numbers.
Federal layoffs wrought by Elon Musk and Doge haven't had a huge impact yet, but some industries have begun to rein in their hiring. But gains by healthcare, financial services, and transportation offset those losses, and 177,000 new jobs were created last month. The unemployment rate held steady at 4.2%.
And Karen Travers reporting this afternoon that the president has responded to the jobs report today.
President Trump again called on the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. He's recently criticized Fed Chair Jerome Powell and called for his termination.
But the president saying he has no intention, though, of firing Powell. The National Weather Service saying a strong thunderstorm could impact portions of southeastern Cherokee, southwestern Forsyth, and northwestern Fulton counties through 12:15. As we take a look at WSB Storm Tracker radar, we do see some of those showers and thunderstorms popping up. And there are a lot of outdoor activities planned for this weekend. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards says, yeah, you're going to run into some thunderstorms, possibly on Saturday.
It is festival season. We all want to be outside, but have a rain plan. Have your rain poncho with you. And by the way, if you hear thunder, that means lightning is nearby. So you need to have an indoor plan, a safety plan, if you are organizing a festival or if you're just attending.
And she says the greatest risk of storms on Saturday would be from 4 p.m. until 11. Then it clears up and is going to be beautiful on Sunday. She'll have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast coming your way at 12:05. There was a soft lockdown at Barrow County schools today. It has now been lifted. Threats were called into several schools in that district this morning. The Barrow County Sheriff's Office did a sweep of the schools and found nothing. Everything now back to normal there in Barrow County. A jury in Cherokee County has found a Waleska man guilty in the death of a 1-year-old baby. It only took the jury an hour to find 27-year-old Gregory Davis Jr. guilty of murdering the 1-year-old while the baby's mother was at work. This happened back in 2021. The child suffered abusive head trauma consistent with shaking. An autopsy was done. It confirmed the cause of death as acute and healing traumatic injuries to the head, neck, and torso. Davis, found guilty of malice murder, he has yet to be sentenced. A new warning about meat sold at one store in Marietta today.
The USDA issues an alert about ground beef sold at the Bismillah Halal Meat and Grocery Store. The department says products sold there between April 10th and 23rd could be contaminated with E. coli. That meat's no longer for sale at the store, but officials are specifically worried about those who may still have it in their freezer or refrigerator. They say throw it out immediately or take it back to the store for a refund. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
All right, how about some good news? We could all use it, right? Well, new here at noon, this year, Georgia Tech graduates are getting a very generous gift along with their diplomas.
During his commencement address to the graduating class at McCamish Pavilion, renowned tech entrepreneur and Georgia Tech alumnus Christopher Klaus announced a deeply personal gift after losing his son Will last year.
In honor of my son, we are gifting each one of you a free Delaware C Corporation to start your own entrepreneurial journey.
He says it is important for budding entrepreneurs to have someone who believes in them to help create a spark. While a student at Georgia Tech, he founded Internet Security Systems, which went public and was later acquired by IBM for nearly $2 billion. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
All right, so a lot of people travel over the weekend. If you or somebody you know will be flying into or out of Newark, there are delays at New Jersey's Newark Liberty International Airport. The FAA saying runway construction and staffing shortages are to blame, as well as issues with equipment.
Therein lies many of your problems that are ongoing and are going to get worse as the summer season progresses and we have far more tourists and flights trying to get in all these airports.
And that is aviation expert J.P. Tristani. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy launching a new air traffic control recruitment and retention program. He says the FAA is short about 3,000 controllers right now.
We're hoping in 3 to 4 years we can get to full staffing, not 20 years. But again, it is a thoughtful, concerted effort to go, how do you make up the gap? And we can't snap our fingers to make up the numbers.
And the FAA will give $5,000 bonuses to all Academy graduates and new hires who complete initial qualification training. Academy graduates who are assigned to some of the facilities, 13 of them that have faced additional hiring struggles, they're going to receive $10,000 bonuses. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow is currently up almost 1.5%. NASDAQ's up more than 1.5%, and so is the S&P. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams, how are we doing on the roads?
Much better news in DeKalb County. Sabrina, that crash finally cleared out out of the left lane. 285 northbound, the outer loop, I-20 exit 46. Delays improving there. Thanks to traffic trooper Kyle. He let us know about this crash, and I see it on the jam cam. It's in the left lane, 75 southbound in Cobb County, just below the South 120 loop exit 263. Some brake lights there, but you're actually slower northbound, leaving South Marietta Parkway, trying to head up past Barrett Parkway, but luckily just volume there. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Now your 5-day forecast sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta.
A mix of sun and clouds through this afternoon, high 82. Watching for pop-up showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon hours. A line of thunderstorms will roll through metro Atlanta between 8 o'clock and midnight. Some of those storms may produce damaging wind gusts. Lows tonight in the low 60s. Isolated rain showers for early tomorrow morning. And then another line of heavy rain and thunderstorms for late tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours, high 74. Drying out on Sunday, morning low 60, afternoon high 75. Monday and Tuesday, partly to mostly sunny, morning lows in the 50s, daytime highs in the mid to upper 70s.
We have some thunderstorm activity in Cherokee, Forsyth, and Fulton counties. We'll have more news at 12:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Here we go, friends. It's the 5K Day Bonus Blitz. The noon keyword is coin, C-O-I-N, coin. Enter the keyword coin into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword, win $1,000. The keyword is coin, C-O-I-N. Don't forget, if you get a call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, pick it up. Could be us telling you you won $1,000. The keyword is coin. Good luck. We now join Erickson in progress.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number, if you would like to be a part of this open line Friday today, 877-973-7425. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you can get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, so much more. Yes, that was me you saw at the Pearl Jam concert last night. It was fantastic. Opening act, not so much. We skipped it. We got news. We've got good news. We've got great news that we have to start off with. One of the hangover effects from the 2008 financial crisis was a lot of people taking multiple jobs to make ends meet. So a lot of people were classified by the Obama administration as full-time employees, when in reality they were working 2-3 jobs to get 40 hours a week. And it was a drag on the economy, but also it was a drag on people's livelihoods, a drag on people's self-esteem, a general drag on all directions of society. And turns out non-farm payrolls increased 177,000 for the month of April, slightly below what was revised 185,000 for March, but higher than what was expected. They were expecting 133,000, got 177,000, and now here's the 2 points. One, there's been a conversion for many people from multiple part-time jobs to one full-time job, which is good. Two, the labor participation rate has gone up, meaning people are getting off the sidelines and going back to work. Now, what do you explain this? How do you explain this? What do you do with all the worries about tariffs and concerns and the thinking that the economy was going to head to recession? In fact, there's still a lot of data out there that suggests we are headed towards a recession, although it's avoidable depending on how long the tariffs last and what trade deals we get. But it turns out a lot of employers were encouraged when Joe Biden went away. Turns out a lot of employers have been making hiring and business decisions not based on the chaos of Donald Trump, but based on the competence of Trump's team compared to when Joe Biden was in office. And the result is that in March and April, we had good labor participation rate increases, and we've had good employment numbers, even as it looks like in the next quarter, some employers are starting to hint in their earnings calls and the like that there could be a slowdown or there could be layoffs. And this is kind of the thing that everyone is saying to the president, that please, sir, if you'll change your mind on tariffs quickly, we can avoid the recession and the economy can explode. Now, Here's the one downside of the very good jobs numbers, and that is wages only went up 0.2%. They were expected to go up more than that. So wages have now outpaced inflation for the last several months, meaning your wages are starting to rise, and you yourself may not feel it, but nationally in the data, wages are starting to trickle up above the rate of inflation. So people's ability to buy things is beginning finally to increase. Now, you should know the unemployment rate held at 4.2%, which suggests a very stable market. Stocks are excited today. The Dow is excited. Remember, I guess it was 2-3 weeks ago, the headline in the Wall Street Journal. We covered it. Worst economic moment for the stock market since the Great Depression. The stock market is now ahead of where it was those few weeks ago. The stocks are up. In fact, CNBC is noting that the S&P 500 has had the longest winning streak now in 20 years. Events change things. Now, what are the events that change things? Several events. One is the president's walk back of the reciprocal tariffs. Two, the president and China beginning to have conversations, substantive conversations. Three, the president announcing that trade deals are coming with Japan, India, European countries, and Australia. Four, the president himself seeing the lay of the land from what was happening with the tariffs and making adjustments to the auto tariffs, making adjustments for technology companies, giving carve-outs and exceptions. Now, this gets to kind of the bad thing, and this is Rand Paul's complaint about the tariffs, that command and control socialist societies, the commissars get to carve out loopholes for their friends and family. Whoever you want to benefit, whoever you want to help, they can get an exception, an exemption, but the other people don't. And that tends to help the big and the powerful, not the small. So the mom and pop shop on the main square doesn't actually get the help, but the big conglomerate does. Seema Shah is the chief global strategist at Principal Asset Management. Here's his quote to CNBC. "We can push recession concerns to another month. Job numbers remain very strong, suggesting there was an impressive degree of resilience in the economy in play before the tariff shock. The economy will weaken in the coming months, but with an underlying momentum, the U.S. has a decent chance of averting recession if it can step back from the tariff brink in time." In fact, that's one of the hints into the labor numbers that people are seeing, is that a lot of the job gains came at the beginning of April, not the end of April, as companies started making changes towards the end of April, worrying about the cost of tariffs. And a lot of the jobs came in the healthcare sector, which added 51,000 of the 177,000 jobs. Oddly enough, we got a good report, even as the government declined. That's right. The federal government lost another 9,000 jobs in April. 26,000 federal jobs lost since January. And because Donald Trump is the president and not Joe Biden, they have an economy to go to. Now, interestingly enough, you know a sector that lost jobs. Not the sector you were probably expecting. Manufacturing. The tariffs are designed to save manufacturing, but the trade war has cost 1,000 jobs in the manufacturing sector, as some companies are laying off workers, particularly in the auto manufacturing sector, because of the tariffs. But the upside is that so many ships have come in from China pre-tariff, we're probably going to be good on the supply chain for the next month or so. This may shake out. There are cautions out there. But again, we covered it. It was the big story 2 weeks ago. It was the big story. You could not cover it. That the markets had the worst April since the Great Depression. And now the markets have recovered from that. In fact, the markets are doing quite well today. Everything is up. The Dow is up 629 points. The S&P up 91 points. The NASDAQ up 320 points. So up 1.5% on the Dow, 1.6% on the S&P, 1.8% on the NASDAQ. Even the Russell 2000, remember the Russell 2000 are the smallest of the publicly traded companies. It's up 2%. We seem to be headed in the right direction. And the murmuring and the rumbling out there is, please, Mr. President, wrap up the tariff soon. You know, somebody got mad at me the other day. Paul, I forget Paul, your last name, emailed and said, you're justifying the tariffs. You're finding a way to justify the tariffs. If you're a longtime listener to this program, I get complaints from Trump supporters that I'm not backing the tariffs. I had allowed a call in from Andrew yesterday to try to defend the tariffs. I don't think he did a very good job on it, but he wanted to defend the tariffs. I'm not defending the tariffs, but I am saying my suspicion on the tariffs continues to be we're going to keep the tariffs until the tax cut deal is done, and then they'll go away. Because you got to have revenue estimates to be able to do the tax cuts the president wants. You do the tax cuts the president wants, then you get rid of the tariffs. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a great deal of sense. Why not? Now, I still think that the tariffs aren't good, but if your perspective is you want robust tax cuts for corporations and for individuals, and you've got to have a revenue stream to be able to make them as big as possible to bypass the Byrd rule, to pad the revenue coming into Washington, D.C., well, you got to keep the tariffs around and give revenue projections based on the tariffs. And the moment you get the tax cuts done, then you get rid of the tariffs. And yes, that money goes away. And yes, it explodes the deficit. And yes, it causes other problems, but you got your tax cuts done. And now here's the thing, too. If you make the tax cuts permanent, they don't expire in 4 years or 5 years, but they actually, the Democrats, if they get back into power, they're going to have to actually raise taxes on people. Well, that puts the Democrats in a difficult spot, but it also provides more economic stability. Look, the problem is if the tax cuts can go away, I mean, the tax cuts go away at the end of this year unless they make them permanent, and the Senate wants to make them permanent. So you make them permanent, then now suddenly businesses actually have some idea of tax strategies moving forward until the Democrats get elected and you get a Democrat in the White House who's going to support their plan. It makes sense. Then you get rid of the tariffs. If the tariffs stay and you get the tax cuts, you're still going to have problems. But if the tax cuts are targeted enough for corporations and for individuals, you can bypass some of the problems with tariffs. That's some of the thinking inside the White House. But my guess remains that this is all about padding the numbers for the Congressional Budget Office on tariff revenue so they can make other cuts, so then they can make the tax cuts permanent, so then they can get rid of the tariffs. The tariffs do need to be got rid of. The data is starting to show up as inventory now comes in from abroad, particularly from China, that has the tariffs on it. We're getting fewer shipping containers. That means there are going to be empty store shelves if this doesn't change. But guess what? Today, China says it's willing to talk. China had been insisting it wasn't willing to talk, but the Chinese economy is not doing well. The Chinese, interestingly enough, you can't trust the actual numbers coming from China. And the numbers coming from China look like their economy is actually being very robust. Even when you factor in all the advance orders to get stuff here before the tariffs took effect, you actually look at the underlying data and something doesn't look right. And there are a lot of suggestions out there today. The Chinese, as usual, are cooking the books. And the reason we can tell they're cooking the books is because they had been very dogmatic. They would not talk. They would not work on a deal. They would not come to terms with Trump. And now suddenly they're like, hey, you know what? We would love to chat with you about changing things. It's encouraging. By the way, another thing is, with employment the way it is, holding steady at 4.2%, that's not full unemployment, but it's getting close to it. With employment at 4.2, unemployment at 4.2%. With the economy possibly going to slow down because of the tariffs, it does give the Federal Reserve some wiggle room to cut interest rates now. Donald Trump again today saying he wishes they would go on and cut interest rates. They're going to play it cautious. They're going to drag their feet. But the economy looks good. Analysts are warning a slowdown is coming primarily because of the tariffs. So you cut interest rates now. You give the economy a little boost. We're headed in the right direction. Now, here's the thing. The Democrats were rooting against the economy. The Democrats were going to make big hay, because remember that the jobs number expected to come out today was not supposed to be good. And it turned out to be good. Thousands of Democratic staffers around the country from the state to the federal level had to delete the press releases they had already written because it turns out employers made a bet that Donald Trump would be better for the economy than Joe Biden, and thus far, it's paid off.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1220 Cool Ray Carrier, your WSB 24-hour traffic center. They just paced traffic on the south side perimeter, 285 eastbound, the outer loop approaching Moreland Avenue, exit 53. Lanes are back open, but that's why you're bunched up leaving Jonesboro Road. That should start to improve. Also, new stall in DeKalb County, 285 southbound, the inner loop Covington Highway, exit 43, partially in the left lane there. Heads up for that. And if you're traveling downtown, I'm seeing some brake lights. Connector northbound from Langford Parkway up past I-20. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and for UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Here we go, friends. It's the 5K Day Bonus Blitz. The noon keyword is coin. C-O-I-N, coin. Enter the keyword coin into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword, win $1,000. The keyword is coin, C-O-I-N. Don't forget, if you get a call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, pick it up. Could be us telling you you won $1,000. The keyword is coin. Good luck.
Trust is not just a word. It's an experience. When your home needs service, you can trust TE Certified Electrical, Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Hey, it's Chris Chandler. TE is the company I trust to fix any problem once and for all, and I don't say that lightly. I really do love my home. It's my baby. My family lives there. When somebody's there working, I can hover a little bit. I can supervise a little bit. They love that. I usually worry a little bit too, but with TE Certified, I don't have to do any of that. They actually love my home too. I am a TE certified customer, so I speak from my own experience when I say you can trust them too. Their 5-star customer experience means easy online scheduling, friendly technicians, a lifetime workmanship warranty. When TE's at the Chandler house, I just sit back and relax, let them handle everything. When it comes to my home, trust matters.
TE certified, we love your home.
Foundations are created equal, and neither are foundation repair methods. That is why you should always turn to Atlanta Ramjack for your foundation repair. Mark Beckham here, and we have carefully designed our foundation repair methods over the years, currently holding 12 different patents for our solutions. So if you see cracks in your brick or floor, or if a door doesn't shut properly, or your windows stick, this can all spell foundation trouble. Visit AtlantaRamjack.com for your free estimate and peace of mind.
This is Scott Slade, and this is my health story. I get a checkup every year. In last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. I'll never forget his words. "I want somebody looking over my shoulder on this." Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options and optimism for a good outcome. When we're talking about our health, we shouldn't be shy. I think it's important to talk about what can kill you or rob you of your quality of life. Heart disease is still the nation's #1 killer. And what I think should be right up there with it, procrastination. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often to spot problems while we still have options to deal with them. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries and most cancers at the earliest stage. And virtual imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. I am living proof that preventive medicine can save lives. So don't put this off, especially with this offer from Virtual Imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free, with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now while you still have options.
If it's the big story, it's on 2. Channel 2 Action News this morning. I'm Fred Blankenship.
And I'm Lori Wilson. Big stories are always breaking. It may start in the morning, but the impact continues all day.
We're constantly working to bring you fresh information from different perspectives.
This is Developing Live. Our reporters are working to get you all the angles right now.
When it comes to the big story, this is always the place to get ready for your day.
Join us on Channel 2 Action News this morning every day, 4:30 to 7.
Dave Baker here. If the temperature inside your house doesn't fit with the temperature outside your house, you need to call Coolray Heating and Cooling. In May, you can get your HVAC system tuned up for only $79, or you can get up to $2,250 in rebates with the purchase of a complete Carrier comfort system, plus get free attic insulation. For comfort that lasts all year, visit Coolray.com to schedule your appointment today. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You can be live on Eric's show by calling 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425.
It is an open line Friday, and yes, the phone number 877-973-7425. Stand by on the phones. Y'all, I was supposed to actually be at Renai this morning. The Secretary of Energy was there, and then I had got in the doghouse. Needed to actually be home this morning, so couldn't actually go. Didn't realize I was supposed to be home. That's why I got in the doghouse. So my apologies to folks at Renai. I was hoping to be there to meet the Secretary of Energy, but he's there because one of the things the Trump administration has done, and this gets to the jobs numbers, is they gutted a lot of the last-minute regulations from the Biden administration. So those of you who are not familiar with Renai, they make the tankless water heaters. And the Biden administration Energy Department came up with this wild, fun idea that they should ban tankless water heaters because they were energy inefficient. Never mind, they're actually more efficient than your normal water heater, but they essentially want you to get an HVAC system and run your water heater through the HVAC system. And in order to incentivize you to do that, it was just this wild, convoluted rule that would have driven up costs on all sorts of Americans and put a lot of people out of jobs. So the Trump administration got rid of the regulation as soon as they came in the door and saved lots and lots of jobs. And a number of those are up the road from me at Renai. They're manufactured in Griffin, Georgia. So the Secretary of Energy was there this morning. And again, they reached out and asked if I want to be. I said yes. And allegedly, I was told a while back I was supposed to be home. I did not remember it. So, yeah, it didn't go well for me this morning. But nonetheless, it's cool that the Secretary of Energy is out highlighting how energy regulations can create or hurt jobs. And it's actually kind of a big deal that the Trump administration, day one, came in and started rolling back Jennifer Granholm's regulations that were killing jobs, not just at Renai, but around the country. I mean, the targeting the gas stoves, targeting water heaters, targeting dishwashers, targeting refrigerators. They rolled them all back, saving a lot of jobs. Now, Congress has got to get involved here because we're still at this point because of efficiency rules that we can't put parts in these things that last long. So you're still having to replace your dishwasher after 5-10 years, and it takes 5 hours to wash the dishes when your old dishwashers lasted 30 years and washed the dishes in less than an hour. We still got work to do, but at least we're headed in the right direction. Now, you may have work to do on your computers, and if so, you should go to visioncomputers.com or call them at 404-COMPUTE and let them work on your computers. They can upgrade them for you. They can build new ones for you. They can provide you world-class tech support. They've got thousands and thousands and thousands of five-star reviews highlighting just how good their customer support is, and it really is good. I can tell you about my son, but let me just tell you about the caller who emailed me the other day. Said he had an older computer, went to Vision, was going to buy a new computer, and they're like, you don't need a new computer. You just need to upgrade your GPU, and your computer is perfectly fine. He says he went from thinking he was going to spend a couple $1,000s to spending less than $1,000, and then got their customer support. They can save you money. They can build you great machines. They can upgrade your existing machines more likely than not, and they can give you their tech support so that you can be good at your job and they can be good at your computers. Call them at 404-COMPUTER. Go to visioncomputers.com. For businesses, same thing. And if you buy your computer from them, you get the tech support for free. If not, it's $179 a year per computer. They can save you money and heartache. Visioncomputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. Tell them I sent you. You'll save even more money. 404-COMPUTE.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. A few showers and storms are starting to pop up on WSB Storm Tracker radar. North Fulton getting heavy rain and storms right now. Paulding County also getting some thunderstorm activity. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards says there may be a few storms and for certain rain tomorrow. Will it be a washout?
It's possible that many of us will deal with rain showers all day on Saturday. It's also possible that some may have some dry hours. So again, plan for rain. However, it's the thunderstorms, the lightning activity that you really do want to go to a safe place.
All right, so Christina will have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. This is new this half hour. More children here in the United States died from flu this year than in 15 years. That according to the CDC. They tell me that there were 216 pediatric deaths reported so far, 90% of those deaths in children who were not fully vaccinated. In past seasons, about 80% of pediatric flu deaths are in children not fully vaccinated against flu. CDC recommends everyone 6 months and older get an annual flu vaccine. At this hour, we are expecting an update from Barrow County on threats that were called into several schools there in the district this morning. It prompted a soft lockdown. It has since been lifted. We'll monitor that news briefing and let you know what they say, so check back for updates on that. In DeKalb County, the police department is holding a job fair tomorrow. It's going to be going on from 8 a.m. until 2 at the Toby Grant Recreation Center on Parkdale Drive in Scottsdale. Blaine Clark is with DeKalb County Police.
We're always looking for, great new hires who want to serve DeKalb County, who want to be part of the community, who want to keep the peace and keep people safe.
He says if you're coming out to the job fair, get ready to sweat.
They should definitely bring a change of clothes. The physical agility test will be probably some of the fastest 2 minutes of their life, based on what I saw from the last hiring event.
And the pay ranges from just over $64,000 for non-certified recruits, plus a $3,000 signing bonus. Applicants do need to be 21 years old or older. It is 12:32.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 300 megabit internet and Security Edge for $69 a month for 24 months. And ask how to get free installation on qualifying bundles. Plus, find out how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra. After 24 months, regular rates apply.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When we place our loved ones in a nursing home, we expect them to receive the best care. We meet with families who learn that their mothers and fathers, grandmothers and grandfathers have been terribly abused in nursing homes. Bed sores, malnutrition, broken bones, dehydration, and yes, even death. If you believe that a loved one has been abused or neglected while living in a nursing home, call us. The consultation is free.
Morgan & Morgan, Atlanta, 191 Peach Street, Atlanta, Georgia. Thou pound law. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
All right, quickly, Alex Williams, how are we doing on the roads?
Absolutely pouring right now along Georgia 400 up in Alpharetta and up into Cumming. Use caution there on the wet roadways, and a stall about to clear out of a left lane into cab, 285 southbound the Interloop Covington Highway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, warm and humid, high 82. Watching for scattered rain showers and thunderstorms late this afternoon into the evening hours.
And as you heard, we are getting some of those right now. More news at 1 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Greetings, welcome. It is Erick Erickson here across the United States. It's an open line Friday, 877-973-7425 is the phone number. Don't forget to text Erick, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, all that good stuff, the social media links. Follow me around Instagram and TikTok. Dwayne, you're going to be the first caller on the show today. Welcome to the Erick Erickson Show. How are you?
Good. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
First off, I want to say I'm one of Trump's many biggest fans. And I also want to say that I took enough economics in college that I can kind of follow what's going on with all this stuff. But it's like you're at a football game. You're just in the stands anyway watching what's going on. But I like the way that Dagan McDowell on the Fox Business Channel characterized what's going on right now. He said that Trump has us driving in an old pickup truck down a country road at night with no headlights on. And he says, "Don't worry, I know where we're going." I thought that was funny.
That's not a bad way to look at it. Look, you know, I get asked or I get yelled at, I should say, not asked. I get yelled at by some of the president's more ardent supporters that just trust him, trust the plan. I talk to enough people within his inner circle who are longtime friends of mine that I get the sense that the president has some sense of what he wants to do, but it's kind of more he operates at the gut level, so there's not an overarching, like, sketched out, articulable plan. And I just I'm old enough to not trust any politician, even the ones I like. I don't particularly trust the politicians. And my view of things is that if you can't articulate clearly the plan, then maybe the flying by the seat of your pants stuff isn't so good. But again, I will say that if part of the issue with tariffs is we got to pad the revenue for the tax cuts and then we'll get rid of the tariffs once we get the tax cuts, brilliant. Go for it. I still think we should have found something else because of the economic harm the tariffs could do. But you know what? If you got to pad those numbers to get the tax cuts permanent, then get the tax cuts permanent. And I'm 100% on board doing that. Frank in Whispering Pines, North Carolina, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Eric. Doing good, thank you. How have you been?
Great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing you next Friday anyway, down here.
I'm so looking forward to being there.
Yeah, shame you couldn't get out here and do some golfing, maybe go on. But anyway, one point that I wanted to kind of talk about relating to like tariffs, and in a certain way, you can also look at them similar to like corporate income taxes. You know, they're just money that's being put on getting something, services or goods. And in a way, it's almost like a value-added tax being, put together. And, a lot of talk's going on about tariffs, and, and I hear what you say about that, and it may be, impossible to reduce income, personal income taxes by tariffs. But, again, just we're moving towards a value-added tax, it seems like, in both of those things. What do you think about that?
So I would say a value-added taxes, and for those who aren't familiar with the VAT, so the VAT is a tax that's placed on the entire production chain of a good. And there's a value that is assessed for each measure of the good till you get to the final part. It's what Europe uses instead of a sales tax. And yeah, there's a level of comparability for it. In fact, the president is essentially arguing that the European VAT amounts to a tariff. Now, there is a big difference between a tariff and a tax on anything else. And it's one reason a tariff is called a duty, not a tax. So a tax is owed by you individually or by a corporation. A duty is actually tied to a specific good. So the income of a corporation gets taxed. It's the corporate tax. Your income gets taxed. Your property gets taxed. You got to find the money derived from the value. Now, the difference between a duty and a tax is that a duty is placed on a particular good. So the T-shirt from Vietnam the tariff is imposed on the T-shirt, and so there's no way to get around it. So, for example, with the tax, if I reduce my income, my tax goes down. If a corporation uses accounting methods to lower its taxes, there's no way to lower a duty because it's applied to a particular good, not to a company or an individual. And that's what makes it different. Now, you can say, well, you're arguing over tomatoes and tomatoes when it comes to something like that, and I get it. But there's a nuanced distinction, not just with accounting, and there's no way to get around the tariff. That's part of the problem here. The only way to get around the tariff is to hire a lobbyist to go to Washington, D.C. and beg for a carve-out. And that is it. And mom-and-pop shops can't do that. The mom and pop shops don't have the lobbyists. The National Federation of Independent Business is a great organization. I support them, but they don't have the access that Apple itself does because Apple is the most valuable company in the world. So Apple can get the carve out for its technology products that the mom and pop shop on Main Street can't. That becomes the tricky dynamic. Now, 877-973-7425. Before I get to any other calls, I got to talk about this wild story in New York Magazine. The media lacked all curiosity on Joe Biden and his mental health. They dismissed as cheap fakes Republican video clips of Joe Biden. When John Fetterman was running for the United States Senate against Dr. Oz, he had the stroke. They covered up his condition until the voting had already begun, and then they trotted him out, and people saw that he actually had serious problems, speech problems, that he's still struggling with, although overcoming them. But the only major thing that's changed with John Fetterman now is he's very supportive of Israel. And he's tried to accommodate Donald Trump. Not always, but has tried. So now New York Magazine is doing a massive piece on John Fetterman. All the members of the media nodding their head and tut-tutting, all these sources on the record, and they're all former staffers, many of them progressives who feel burned by John Fetterman's defense of Israel. And they're saying he's not going to his checkups. He's got mental health issues. He's got problems. Fetterman, meanwhile, says he's better than he's been. Yes, he struggles with depression. He got on Mounjaro, lost some weight. It's made him feel better, give him better self-esteem. I know people who know John Fetterman who say that this is the John Fetterman they've always known. There's nothing different. But now suddenly you've got credible speculation there's seriously something wrong with John Fetterman. And the entire reason is because of his militancy in defense of Israel. They were willing to cover up the damage from his stroke because they thought he was a woke progressive. It turns out he's a populist Democrat who's not a woke progressive. And now they're furious with him. So now they're willing to rush to New York Magazine to do a big expose on John Fetterman and suggest there are serious problems with Fetterman, undermining his credibility. And the only thing that has changed is his vocal defense of Israel. In fact, one of the stories in there is a complaint that, there were people putting anti-Israel labels on hummus. And Fetterman wanted to put out on social media, protest Israeli women and children being raped and murdered. or protest hummus using the Drake meme, if you know what that is. And his staff says, well, we were afraid that would look like people were undermining undermining rape and undermining women's sexuality if he put that out. And he put it out anyway. Really, that was what they said, that he was undermining rape and sexuality by putting out this meme that actually pointed out the hypocrisy of people who were willing to slap labels on hummus imported from Israel, and they weren't willing to get in the streets and protest the murder of Israelis. But his staff is upset with him. So we have to have a massive profile of him. Massive profile that suggests he might not be taking medication. Maybe he's on some drugs he shouldn't be on. Maybe there are mental health warnings. Maybe he's not checking in with his doctors as much as he should and he's regressing. Seems pretty normal to me. Dude's been great with one-liners. Just yesterday, they asked him in Washington, somebody shoved a camera in his face and said, what do you think about Mike Waltz being tossed by the White House, sent up to the UN? And he says, but he won't use Signal anymore. Now, you know, the irony is that yesterday in the cabinet meeting, or 2 days ago in the cabinet meeting, I guess it was, Mike Waltz was photographed and he was on Signal. You know, they all use Signal, even the Democrats. That's the dirty little secret here. Is the Democrats use Signal, too. He just got caught because he put Jeffrey Goldberg on it. Now, I know, listen, so the party line today is that Mike Waltz is actually being promoted. He's being sent up to the UN as ambassador. That's a promotion from National Security Advisor. It's really not, but that's the party line. I mentioned it this morning on social media, and people came at me. J.D. Vance says it's a promotion. What do you know? You're not there. I know how the world works. It's not a promotion. They moved him out of the White House. They're moving up to the United Nations, and all the people who carry the water, be the water carriers you need to carry, but spare me your outrage. It actually is a demotion for Mike Waltz, even though it does get Senate confirmation. Gets him out of the White House, gets him away from the national security apparatus, and puts Marco Rubio there, who has become the jack of all trades now. Marco Rubio right now is Secretary of State, National Security Advisor to the President, Director of the National Archives, and Director Administrator of USAID. He is all of the above at the moment. Now, the rumor in Washington is that Stephen Miller is being looked at to be the National Security Advisor. That's the rumor. I don't know how credible it is. But, I mean, the president definitely is going to need to get somebody else in there other than Rubio, although I do suspect Rubio probably doesn't. I know I haven't talked to him. I know him, but I don't bother him. But being National Security Advisor and Secretary of State potentially has some good benefits and gives you more clout in the room. And it seems very clear here that Scott Bessent and Marco Rubio are the two guys that Trump is really relying on right now, and that's a good thing. They're both competent. Now, I want to tell you about my bank, Old Glory Bank. If you're looking for a bank, if you need a bank, and you want to try an online bank, there's one I know of that allows you to deposit cash at your online bank, and that's Old Glory Bank. You go to oldglorybank.com. Oldglorybank.com. You fill out the form online. That's what I did when they started 2 years ago. It's like July 4th, 2 years ago, so 2023. I guess that's about how long I've had an account. I've got a checking account and a savings account with them. It's no fees. I don't need the fancy accounts. You can get more hands-on accounts. I just don't need them. But they've got great budgeting tools. They've got great bill pay tools. Everything you need. You can do home loans with them. You can do car loans. You can do CDs with them. And they're good people. And they've got great competitive rates. Go to oldglorybank.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply. One of the things that sets Old Glory Bank apart is it's by conservatives for conservatives. They were worried about debanking trends, and they were smart enough to know they don't want to become publicly traded in a way that allows major hedge funds and the like that are woke to buy up their stock and force them to make changes away from conservatives. Like some hedge funds have bought up stocks in banks and then used their shareholder clout to tell the bank, you can't allow people to use a debit card to buy a gun. At Old Glory Bank, they're not like that. And so they've sold their stock on Main Street, bypassing Wall Street. If you want to invest, you can go to own.oldglorybank.com. I have done this. Own.oldglorybank.com. Now, here's what you need to know. Stock goes up and down. It's not FDIC insured. If you have any questions, you should talk to an advisor. Don't take financial advice from me. Oldglorybank.com. It really is my bank. It could be yours as well.
honest,
putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1250 Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still watching some heavy rain through the Alpharetta, South Forsyth County area along Georgia 400. So dial those speeds back if you got to be out in these heavy downpours. Also, some storms ran through Cherokee County, and I see traffic lights flashing red in all directions. Highway 92 at Wade Green Road. Treat that intersection as though it's a stop sign. We're also seeing some 575 southbound delays through Woodstock on that wet pavement. And checking on a new trouble in the cab, 20 westbound, west of Panola Road. Traffic brought to you by the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. The 2025 FIFA Club World Cup is coming to Atlanta. Get ready for a global soccer showdown at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Don't just watch history, be there. Get tickets at FIFA.com/tickets. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That's amazing.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every
This
weekday.
is Dawn in Brazelton, and I just won $1,000 from WSB.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
On 95.5 WSB.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head-scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
As Georgia's homegrown leader in business insurance, Builders partners with thousands of local businesses to safeguard workers and help them return to their lives after injuries. Explore reliable workers' compensation solutions at BLDRS.com. Builders, insurance built strong.
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science, targeting cancer at the molecular level, with teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count, with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
At Shane Company, we've been engagement ring experts for almost 100 years. We have the largest selection of diamonds and gemstones in stock. You don't have to wait to compare them side by side. Find the one that speaks to you at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Text DATA to 33777 and you'll be in the know.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Open Line Friday, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. If you are in the business of business and you see opportunities and maybe your present lender doesn't, reach out to First Liberty, see if they can help you. FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com. They make lending decisions all over the country. They help businesses grow. If you need $250,000 or more, they might be a partner for you. FirstLibertyGA.com. Adam's been waiting patiently here. Welcome to the show. Adam, how are you?
Hey.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Called in a couple of weeks ago. Immediately got pulled away from the radio. The call screener said he passed the information along, but I had no idea if you actually got around to it. But I wanted to get your thoughts. Back in, I believe it was late February, early March, Raphael Warnock voted no against making fentanyl a Schedule I narcotic.
Yeah, I do. It was the Halt Fentanyl Act, and he did vote no, and he released a statement on it. And what his statement was, as a pastor, I've sat with families as they struggled with a loved one from addiction. I fought for aggressive action to combat fentanyl, but I'm voting no because we can't jail our way out of the crisis. That's his logic, that we can't jail our way out. So he doesn't want to make fentanyl a greater felony and throw people in jail, which, I mean, this is what the progressive left always does. They don't actually believe that jailing people can fight the fight. I think he made a bad mistake on that, because being a little more aggressive on fentanyl would probably help us. In addition, I mean, the president securing the border helps us on the issue, but there's definitely more work to do when it comes to fentanyl. Speaking of drugs, by the way, I gotta say something that some of you may not like. I continue to think Robert F. Kennedy is a blithering idiot and conspiracy theorist. Just because he's Secretary of Health and Human Services does not excuse his mendacity and lies for the past 50 years and his being a horrible human being in and of itself. And I don't say that lightly. He is a horrible human being. And he has now decided that every trial for every vaccine needs to have a placebo test, which is actually cruel, inhumane, and against medical ethics. Why? Because when new vaccines come out that are modifiers of old vaccines, forcing a placebo trial means you would be forcing someone to be denied good and aggressive health care that works. Instead of a placebo trial, perhaps you should compare people to using the old vaccine to the new vaccine. The idea that we're going to make no new vaccine available in this country unless some people are tested in a placebo trial with it is cruel and medically unethical and inhumane, because if you know that a current medicine works to save someone's life, you don't deny that person in the trial that medicine to go to a placebo that may not work, that probably doesn't work. It's stupid that he would suggest it, and it's just another example of the fact that our Secretary of Health and Human Services really doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Oh, yeah, he hates seed oils and artificial colors. Rah, 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 rah. You could find someone who has the same beliefs who is not a horrible human being and a fool. All this is going to do is cause, well, inhumane practices in the United States in medical research. He's a horrible human being who should not be in that job. Now, I feel better saying it. Some of you don't. That's fine. When we come back, we got to talk about Harvard, because the Democrats are like, oh, the precedent. Do these people have no idea they're the ones who set the precedent? Donald Trump is just using the precedent they themselves set. Do they have any clue at all about this? We need to discuss it.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Window Nation. We are seeing some scattered showers and storms on WSB Storm Tracker radar. There have been severe thunderstorm warnings issued. In fact, just getting one right now. A severe thunderstorm warning has just now been issued for Johns Creek, Sugar Hill, and Swanee until 1:45 this afternoon. WSB meteorologist Christine Edwards says after these storms, you can expect another round of rain and storms.
And then a line of heavy rain and thunderstorms between 8 p.m. and midnight. That's when we could see a few isolated damaging wind gusts with those storms. And for Saturday, some isolated morning rain showers, but the second round of thunderstorms is more likely between 4 p.m. and midnight for Saturday night into Sunday morning.
And again, we are having a severe thunderstorm warning being issued for Johns Creek, Sugar Hill, and Swanee until 1:45 this afternoon. Happening right now, a news briefing in Barrow County just wrapping up following threats that were called into a number of schools in that district today. It prompted a soft lockdown. Following the story and joining us live, WSB's Bill Caiaccio.
Yeah, hey Sabrina, a staff member at Barrow County a Barrow County elementary school takes the first threatening phone call and hits a panic button that triggers an emergency response.
There were bombs in the school, that they were going to set those and detonate those bombs off. They were also going to do it outside the school, and that there were multiple firearms outside, and this person was giving the active threat to that elementary school at the time.
Sheriff Judd Smith says they responded to that call and received threats at 4 other elementary schools and a high school. He calls it a sick joke coming 8 months after the shooting at Appalachia High School.
I'm going to throw every resource that I have at it to find out who they are and prosecute them to the fullest.
All of the schools have been searched and there is no credible threat. Live at the breaking news desk, Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
This just in, a step forward in Alpharetta's effort to revitalize the North Point Mall and secure a hockey team.
Alpharetta lawmakers unanimously voted up a plan to contract with CAA Icon, a sports market consulting firm, to explore the feasibility of transforming the North Point area with a sports arena, which many hope will host Metro Atlanta's next NHL hockey team. Charlie Jewell is Director of Economic Development.
We consistently hear that the city is a highly attractive place for a professional sports team, and by investing in this study, it would essentially allow the city to evaluate the feasibility of that type of project.
Jewell says the $150,000 study would take 5 to 6 months. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
It's 102.
A lifetime warranty says a lot about a company. Lifetime is a long time. Home Fix It show host Dave Baker here. I can't think of a better place to have a lifetime warranty than on the roof of your home. It covers everything you own and love. That's why I love Findlay Roofing. Only Findlay Roofing, the roof guys, provide a lifetime leak-free warranty on labor and materials at no additional cost. Nobody else does that. Other roofers charge you more for a lesser warranty. Findlay replaced the roof on my home and over 65,000 other homes locally. They've mastered the roof replacement process with impeccable, high-quality work. They've seen it all, they've replaced it all, and they've warrantied it all. With the Findlay Roofing Lifetime Warranty, you'll never have to worry about your roof ever again. Time to replace your roof? Think of Findlay first. Schedule your free roof analysis. No obligation, no charge at FindlayRoofing.com.
Roof. Hey everyone, it's your buddy Shelly Winter here. Join me this Saturday at noon for the Car Guys with Kevin Deutsch from Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Buy or lease, fix or sell, everything you want to know about cars, we will cover Saturday noon to 1 right here on 95.5 WSB.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people pay to share their opinions, and this ad plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Scott Slade here from iRoofer, FGA Roofing. Are you considering a new roof but not sure when you're going to be able to get it into the budget? FGA Roofing is offering a 000 offer this month. 0 down payment, 0 interest for 12 months, and 0 monthly payments. Search FGA Roofing for a free quote today.
All right, quickly, Alex Williams, how we looking on the roads?
Jammed up in Lithonia. Got a crash. I-20 westbound past Panola Road, exit 71. Slowing the ride back to Evans Mill. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
All right, there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now for Johns Creek, Sugar Hill, and Swanee. That severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 1:45 this afternoon. We'll have more news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Hey, I'm Chris Chandler. When you join us Monday, starting at 5 a.m. for Atlanta's Morning News, breaking stories from overnight, and our exclusive 5-day forecast for the work week. Following up the White House shakeup and what might lie ahead for your money during the week, we'll talk live with CBS's Scott McFarland in Washington. Why Clark Howard wants you to reconsider the way you pay for your power. Plus, remember, our 5K a day bonus blitz continues. Your chance to win $1,000 on Atlanta's Morning News on WSB.
Hi, it's Tim Andrews for My Roofer FGA Roofing. Are you considering a new roof but not sure when you'll be able to get it in the budget? FGA Roofing is offering a 000 offer this month. 0 down payment, 0 interest for 12 months, and 0 monthly payments. Search FGA Roofing for a free quote today.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the fruited plain. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, it is an open line Friday. I would be happy to have you. Now, we got to get into the Harvard situation because the president is back to saying Harvard is going to have its tax-exempt status revoked. I don't actually know that he can do this. President Trump wants to revoke Harvard's tax-exempt status. I don't know that the IRS is going to do it. I mean, they may try to humor him, but a court is probably going to stop in, and he can blame the court and say, I tried, but the court stopped me. There is precedent based on racial discrimination with Bob Jones University. I don't know that that would hold up, the Harvard one would hold up in court, but he's going to give it a try, it seems. Harvard, you should know, in fact, let me pull back up this tweet. I just saw this tweet, that Harvard actually requires students to take a class. Let me read for you this from Joe Lonsdale. The required class at Harvard teaches the myth of meritocracy and that opposing affirmative action or reverse racism is white supremacy. That's a class that is required for Harvard students to take, and I bet few of the conservative students are willing to speak up and challenge the premise. They just want to get through the class. You know, I mean, let's be real honest here. This is the thing that happens. It happens pretty universally, is that you're required to go through these stupid woke training sessions at your corporation or your campus, and you just grin and bear it. You go through the diversity training nonsense. Nobody really believes it. I remember mine in law school that I was required to go through, where you had to put a label. A label was assigned on your back. And based on that label on people's backs, you would go up to them and you would treat them in some way based on the label. And you had to guess what the label was on your back. And then, they pull the rug out from under you and explain to you that every single one of you conform to a stereotype in how you embraced that person to make the labeling obvious. It's like, well, what the hell did you expect us to do? Seriously, this was a dumb exercise. I mouthed off in the class. It's like you want me to go up to someone and the label on their back is black. And so you go up to the person and you begin, and remember, the job is you're supposed to, in engaging that person, help that person figure out what the label on their back is. And I remember I went up to, it's actually a buddy of mine, I went to him and his label was black, and I went up to him and said, so how does it feel to be a black man surrounded by all these white people? Ha ha! He went, oh, she was not, it was some woke affirmative action person going through it. And it just, my job was to ruin it for everybody. It was the stupidest exercise. And yes, I mouthed off on it. You're all playing the stereotypes when you approach the gay person and you ask them the questions that to lead them down the path of realizing that they were labeled gay. You were making stereotypical. No, we were playing the stupid game that you yourself tried. And at Harvard, you got a mandatory class on this, and Donald Trump is done with it. The anti-Semites are in charge at Harvard. You know, when they did the anti-Semitism task force at Harvard, they couldn't even do the anti-Semitism task force. They had to do the anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. You know how it seems to go hand in hand these days for the Democrats? You can't denounce anti-Semitism without denouncing Islamophobia. Meanwhile, it's the pro-Islam people who are out there saying death to the Jews. If you're a Republican, you can talk about anti-Semitism as a standalone phenomenon. If you're a Democrat, you're not allowed to. You gotta throw in Islamophobia to show you're not a hater. Meanwhile, it's the pro-Islam people who are the ones hating on the Jews inside the Democratic Party. But I don't think Donald Trump's going to be able to get rid of the tax-exempt status. He's going to try. Probably the IRS is going to go down with it. It'll be maybe 48, 72 hours before a judge issues an injunction, and it'll probably lose in the Supreme Court. However, the thing I'm seeing from a lot of people, is, doesn't Donald Trump know the precedent he's setting? The Democrats are going to do this to Republican institutions. Like Lois Lerner blocking the tax-exempt status of Tea Party groups back in the day. What about that precedent? What about the Obama administration suing Hillsdale College, which takes not a single penny in federal funding, but because of its tax-exempt status, the Obama administration sued it to make it comply with DEI obligations, among other things. Even though Hillsdale, people forget about this case, it was a real case, the Obama administration lost. They sued Hillsdale College, which does not take a penny of federal funding. And they sued because the argument was because you're 501c3 status, you're obligated by maintaining the status. No, you know why we give nonprofits special tax-exempt status where they don't have to pay income tax? Because they perform a service, but for them, it would be performed by the government. Bottom line. We give churches tax-exempt status because of separation of church and state, and because churches serve a spiritual and physical institutional need for people in community. People who go to church tend to live longer. They tend to suffer from less depression. They have better health outcomes. People who go to church, every study that's done shows, have better outcomes in life. They provide family stability. They tend to run food banks, and they take care of the poor, so the government doesn't have to. They run the adoption agencies. They run the foster programs, educational institutions. They educate Americans, so the government doesn't have to. So we give them tax-exempt status because they're performing a role that would otherwise be performed by the government. So we allow them to not have to pay taxes on the revenue that comes from their nonprofit. It has nothing to do with some sort of benefit from the government. These organizations exist to provide a benefit to the government by allowing the government to not have to do as much. But spare me the precedent being set by Donald Trump. I have long said Donald Trump takes the precedent set by the left and maximizes their reach. The ratchet tightens one way, If the Democrats want to stop, they can stop it, but they don't want to stop it. The Democrats want to use it too. Is the president going further than the Democrats? Yes. But don't tell me he's not using the precedent. For God's sakes, Barack Obama sued the Little Sisters of the Poor to make them pay for abortions. They were a nonprofit institution of nuns, and he decided they needed to pay for abortions. I remember being in the green room when this thing happened. I was at CNN. I was in the green room with Paul Begala. And it was, what's her name? Kathleen Sebelius, who was a lapsed Catholic. And when the word came out that the Obama administration was suing nuns to make them pay for abortions, Paul Begala in the green room at CNN said, this is going to end badly. And then he said, hell hath no fury like a lapsed Catholic. I don't think Paul would mind me saying that. He's largely said that as well, that going after Little Sisters of the Poor was not a good look for the Obama administration, and it wasn't. But it was a precedent the Obama administration set. It was a precedent that the Obama administration amplified. It was a precedent that the Obama administration moved forward with. They went after Hillsdale College. They went after the Little Sisters of the Poor. They tried to get small businesses and independent faith-based organizations, Hobby Lobby, Conestoga Wagon, and others, to pay for abortion. They targeted tax groups, the Tea Party groups, conservative groups. They went after conservative groups. They tried to deny them tax-exempt status. They did all these things. These are all precedents set by the Obama administration. And Democrats are like, I had no idea. You weren't paying attention because you either agreed with it or you didn't care. You believed in the virtues of the Democratic administration, and you didn't want to abide any criticism of it at the time. And guess what? Barack Obama set a lot of the precedents that Donald Trump is using right now, including the massive amount of executive orders being done by Donald Trump. He's bypassed the precedents of Joe Biden, who was too out of touch, out to lunch, and old to be able to do much. But Barack Obama was very aggressive with his executive power. The courts reined in Barack Obama, and I think the courts are going to rein in Donald Trump as well, but he's just using the precedents that Barack Obama set. And all these Democrats are like, oh, you're going to rue the day. You're going to rue the day. No, we already rued the day. Barack Obama did it. Joe Biden himself, I got to say, did a lot of stuff. Not as much as Obama, but Joe Biden targeted conservatives. Joe Biden targeted conservative groups. Joe Biden targeted conservative constituencies with the IRS, with the State Department. Look at the censorious nature of the State Department. You know, Marco Rubio at the cabinet meeting the other day said they've uncovered the documentation from inside the State Department where the State Department was labeling certain American citizens as arrays of disinformation. The Biden administration itself tried to censor conservatives and Americans that Joe Biden didn't like in the name of protecting Americans from disinformation and misinformation. Joe Biden did that. Right now, they're upset Donald Trump wants to have a military parade. Now, first of all, I got to say, I am opposed to military parades, because military parades are something that communist dictatorships do. The May Day parades, where they trot out all the soldiers and the military weaponry, they do it in Cuba, they do it in North Korea, they do it in China, they do it in Russia. I don't think we need to. We don't need to put our weaponry and our soldiers on display. Let them go kill the bad guys. That puts them on display. But Donald Trump wants to have a military parade. He wants to parade everybody, show them the military, show them all of that stuff. Let's not forget Joe Biden, when he wanted to do his speech with the red lighting in Philadelphia to tell people Donald Trump and the Republicans were a threat to democracy. He did a very partisan speech, and he had those Marines standing behind him as if it was a presidential speech when it was a campaign speech. And none of the Democrats were opposed to Joe Biden using Independence Hall or the Marines as a backdrop for a partisan speech. But when it comes to Donald Trump's military parade, they're like, he can't do that. That's using the military for partisan purposes. Sorry, suckers. Joe Biden already set the precedent. Donald Trump's just building on the precedent you people set. I was willing to criticize it when Barack Obama did it. Was willing to criticize it when Joe Biden did it. I'm willing to criticize it when Donald Trump does it. You people on the left, like, you have no clue. You seem to be completely unaware of the precedent you yourself set. And now you're upset at Donald Trump. Maybe you should be upset at your own side. As I say all the time, if you throw the ring of the volcano, You get rid of the power for everybody, but you people aren't opposed to the power. You're just opposed to Donald Trump wielding the power. You want the power. You want the robust government, and you convinced yourselves you're on the right side of history. History bends towards us. Well, history bent towards Donald Trump, and now he's got all the power you were acquiring and collecting for yourself, and you're screaming uncle, and there's no one there to help you. The ratchet always tightens, and you were perfectly happy to tighten the ratchet against conservatives, against your political enemies, against the Christians, against the nonprofits you didn't like, against the Christian and conservative institutions. You did it repeatedly, and you decided that history was in your direction. You were a permanent political majority. The Republicans would never win again. Donald Trump was a Russia fluke in 2016. He'd never win again. Guess what? Not only did he win, he won the popular vote. And now he's got all the power you acquired for yourself and never thought you'd have to get rid of, and he gets to use it against you. You should have gotten rid of the power. You should have. And you decided you didn't want to because you were arrogant. And even now you're like, I can't believe Trump would do this. You did it to the other side, and you have no clue you did it to the other side, or you've conveniently forgotten it. All he's doing is using the precedents you people set.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
121 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Looks like that crash, I-20 westbound, Panola Road, exit 71 that was in the left lane has cleared out of the roadway. Delays through Lithonia still pretty slow, but they will start to improve. Looks like a new crash in Forsyth County, 400 northbound, Highway 141, Peachtree Parkway, exit 13. That's causing some brake lights out of Alpharetta. And traffic lights malfunctioning on Highway 41, Cobb Parkway at Giles Road. You're slow both ways there. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Shop seafood savings at Whole Foods Market. Get 20% off sustainable wild-caught fresh halibut fillets with Prime through May 6th while supplies last. Shop in-store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
Online,
on the app,
where you get your news.
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That's amazing.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every
This
weekday.
is Dawn in Brazelton, and I just won $1,000 from WSB.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
on 95.5 WSB.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
This is Scott Slade. Let's talk about how to improve your chances of living a longer, healthier life. For me, it's preventive medicine. My doctor saw one funky number in my lab work that eventually led to a diagnosis early enough so I still had options. You just got to have a medical professional looking at you every so often, especially when we're talking about heart disease, the nation's #1 killer. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries and most cancers at the earliest stage. And virtual imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. So don't put this off, especially with this offer from virtual imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 300 megabit internet and Security Edge for $69 a month for 24 months. And ask how to get free installation on qualifying bundles. Plus, find out how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra. After 24 months, regular rates apply.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-575-2798.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-2798. That's 800-575-2798.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Hello, welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. It is an open line Friday. Let's go down to Edgewater, Florida. And the man with a great name, Eric. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Great to be here. Love your content. Real quick, to follow up what you were just saying, isn't it funny that Chuck Schumer was talking about getting rid of the filibuster and loading the Supreme Court, and now he's begging down the Republicans not to do that?
Oh, yeah. Well, the precedents, yeah. It's aren't we supposed to be discrediting the Supreme Court and loading it up with people? I mean, that's what the Democrats said they wanted.
Right. Well, where I live, I'm in Volusia County, Florida. Michael Waltz used to be my congressman not too long ago. I went from the 7th district to the 6th. Now I have Corey Mills. Before that, I had Ron DeSantis. So we have we like to elect controversial veterans. But, yeah, Michael Waltz, though, he's a stand-up guy.
Right.
He took the blame. How many politicians, take the blame? He could have passed it off on Hegseth. But
right.
That's leadership right there. Biden never took, or Obama, they never took the blame for anything. But that said, we created this monster. I heard you talking about it a few weeks ago about China owns all the 5G. Mark Zuckerberg owns WhatsApp and Signal. Those are the only encrypted. How do we communicate? It makes me think now, if we are going to war, how do we coordinate? How do we talk? We've created this monster that China owns everything about us, and what do you think we can do about this?
I'm glad you said this because that kind of gets overlooked. The reason they were using Signal is because the Biden administration encouraged government officials to use WhatsApp, Signal, or Blue Bubble iChat, iMessage on Apple phones. But you can encryption only works if it's Apple device to Apple device. The Biden administration recommended doing this. So yeah, China is embedded within our 5G networks. They are. They have infiltrated our telecom networks, and there's got to be a workaround. The government itself has a couple of very secure apps I guess they want everybody to use, but I mean the government itself encourages public employees to use Signal at high levels, which was completely misrepresented by the media in this whole situation. But he shouldn't have added Jeffrey Goldberg. Folks, Americans for Prosperity is around the country in the 50 states advancing common sense conservative solutions. They would like to get you on board. If you want to learn to be a very effective grassroots activist, Americans for Prosperity can teach you how to be effective, or they can just keep you informed with the updates to legislative policy that are common sense, that are conservative, that are for families and small businesses. They support school choice. They support reining in the REINS Act, which reins in the federal bureaucracy. They're actively supporting the president's tax package, and they're trying to rally conservatives around the country to push the Republican Congress to stand with the president on this in the way he wants and to make it permanent. Go to AmericansForProsperity.org and sign up with them today. They've got chapters, and I think now 48 of the 50 states, and they're growing in the 49th and 50th states as well. They'd love to get you on board. AmericansForProsperity.org. I'm on their board of advisors. They're a great group. AmericansForProsperity.org is a website. Go check out AFP today.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
Weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. We have some severe weather moving through the area, so let's go live to WSB's meteorologist Christina Edwards in the Storm Center. Christina.
Good afternoon, Sabrina. Yes, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for Cherokee County. These storms have been producing hail as large as 1 inch in diameter, so that's about the size of a quarter. And these hailstorms, these thunderstorms, are right on top of Waleska and Ball Ground. They're moving northeast into Pickens County. We also have severe storms that are in Bartow County. That's closer to Adairsville. But just be aware that some of these pop-up showers and thunderstorms for this afternoon, they are producing hail. So that's what I'll be tracking for you here live in the Storm Center. Meteorologist Christina Edwards.
All right, thanks, Christina. Other stories we're following for you. The Barrow County Sheriff's Office with a stern warning this afternoon to the person who called in threats to several schools in that district.
I'm going to throw every resource that I have at it to find out who they are and prosecute them to the fullest.
That is Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith. He says they responded to a call. They received threats at 4 other elementary schools and a high school. He calls it a sick joke coming 8 months after the shooting at Appalachia High School. All of the schools were searched and there was no credible threat. New this half hour, a high school student in Cherokee County has been arrested for bringing a gun to school. A statement from the River Ridge High School is posted on their website, and an email has been sent out to parents alerting them that a student at the school was found in possession of a handgun on campus. That student was taken into custody without incident, and the school says the student will be facing serious violations from both the school and law enforcement. A new report from the Atlanta-based CDC says more children here in the United States have died from flu this season than at any time since the swine flu pandemic that was 15 years ago. The CDC reporting 216 pediatric deaths, which tops the 207 last flu season. What kind of dog do you have? Well, it may make it harder for you to get homeowners insurance. According to Forbes, 3 dogs will get your home insurance banned almost 100% of the time. It's the Doberman Pinscher, Pit Bull, and the Rottweiler. The average dog bite claim, just under $45,000. It's 132.
At Shane Company, we love a spring engagement, but you might be wondering, how do I find the perfect engagement ring? As a trusted family jeweler since 1929, we get asked this a lot. We have a wide selection of ring settings, like vintage designs with romantic details, floral settings inspired by nature, and classic styles with clean lines and sleek metals. Dreaming of the most beautiful diamond you've ever seen? At Shane Company, we handpick only the sparkliest center stones in all shapes and sizes, from oval to round to marquise, and more. We have gorgeous natural and lab-grown diamonds at competitive prices, in-store, ready to compare side by side. Drawn to certain colors? We're known for our rainbow of vivid natural sapphires, including shades of blue, straight out of a fairy tale, handpicked by our owner, Tom Shane. At Shane Company, we have the best free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, plus resizing, repairs, and cleanings for life. Visit us at shaneco.com or in store. No appointment necessary. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science, targeting cancer at the molecular level, with teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count, with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
This is Scott Slade. Let's talk about how to improve your chances of living a longer, healthier life. For me, it's preventive medicine. My doctor saw one funky number in my lab work that eventually led to a diagnosis early enough so I still had options. You just got to have a medical professional looking at you every so often, especially when we're talking about heart disease, the nation's #1 killer. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries and most cancers at the earliest stage. And virtual imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. So don't put this off, especially with this offer from virtual imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
Been dealing with a crash in a lane on 400 northbound in Forsyth County before Highway 141 Peachtree Parkway. I think that's in the clearing stages, but now another one on the opposite side, southbound, approaching Windward Parkway, exit 11, so slow both ways between Alpharetta and Cumming. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Severe thunderstorm warning remains for northern Cherokee County, including Waleska and Ball Ground, just to the north of Canton. That's where we have thunderstorms capable of producing hail, and all the storms are drifting east-northeast. Now, more storms are on the way for this evening. Some may produce damaging winds between 8 p.m. and midnight. Showers for tomorrow morning, lows in the low 60s. Tomorrow afternoon, more scattered storms with highs in the mid-70s. Live in the Storm Center, meteorologist Christina Upwards.
All right, we'll have more news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here. It's an open line Friday, 877-973-7425. Don't forget to text DATA, D-A-T-A, to 33777 and get the show notes. They come out every day as the show starts. All the list of things that I'm talking about on the show today, I got to admit, was a little bit difficult. It's a bit of a slow news day today. And in the process of that, I decided, I'm going to talk about things that I've been meaning to talk about and stretch my legs a little bit on some of the other topics that are out there, unless news breaks. And, news breaks, and then news doesn't break. And today, not a whole lot of news where the president has been nowhere near his smartphone, apparently. So we'll see. We keep our eye out for breaking news. There's just not a ton of it happening right now. But I will take your phone calls, 877-973-7425. Before I get into a topic I want to talk about, in light of some of the comments that Mark Zuckerberg made in a podcast. Before I get there, though, I want to go to Seth's phone call here. Seth, welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. If I can fire up the phone. There we go. Seth, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Eric?
Great.
Well, thanks for taking my call. Had a question for you. Why hasn't Trump nominated any federal judges yet? Do you have any unique insight into what his team is thinking? Because it's kind of important. You can't let future Democrat presidencies stack the circuits, and time's ticking, and he might be working with a Democrat Senate or very narrow Senate majority after 2026, making it harder to confirm conservative justices.
So there aren't a massive number of circuit vacancies for two reasons. One, Trump filled so many his first term, and then the Biden team, up till the very last minute, was filling them with Chuck Schumer. There are some. There just aren't a ton. And I know that they've got nominees coming forward, but the priority is always get the appointees for the executive branch filled first. They've got some district court nominees who they're rolling out right now. And so they're going to be starting to fill up some of the district court nominees here shortly. Part of the problem, too, though, is that where some of the vacancies are, they're in states with two Democrats. And the rules work that the Democrats in an area of the nation, if they control a state, they can block the nominees. So you've got to find some people who the Democrats find acceptable. That's a rule in the Senate. When there are two Republicans in a state, the Republicans get some level of veto over the nominees picked by the president. When it's two Democrats, they get that. That's the way the Senate's always worked. You're not going to change it. The president gets to pick a Republican. Now, the Republicans did change the rule back the last time Trump was president, where the rule had been in a circuit. Let's say the circuit is the Ninth Circuit that includes California. Washington and Oregon, but Idaho, Arizona, Alaska, Hawaii, it's a massive circuit, that you were picking a seat for the circuit, and that seat might have been a California judge. And in the past, the Democrats from California objected, that seat wasn't filled. And the Republicans last time were like, nope, this is a circuit court. It's not a California court, and you no longer have the right to object. Ryan in Tulsa, Oklahoma, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, Eric? How's it going,
Good.
buddy?
How are you?
Doing well, sir. Sir, I had a question. This is kind of deep and it's biblical. I tried to ask this to Brian Kilmeade, but it was a little too deep, I guess. So there's a couple guys and I in church, and we always get together, every Sunday, and we talk about what we've seen in the news regarding. Now, this is deep. This is Ezekiel chapter 38. This is the war of Gog and Magog. So we've been watching, Russia attack Ukraine. We've been watching the misery in Syria for like the last 10 years. And now China, when Afghanistan fell, China had a clear path all the way to Israel. So lately, you've seen 200 Chinese troops in Russia. You've seen North Korean troops in Russia. Now Turkey is starting to almost go dictatorial. And, they're the only Muslim NATO country, but they are breathing hateful things towards Israel, and they're inviting Hamas up to visit with them. And I don't know how you feel about that. Some people think this prophecy happened a long time ago, but I think it's happening now. And even with Trump, I don't think it's going to be able to be stopped. It just seems to keep growing. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
All right, right. Yeah, here's the esoteric question of the day. People are like, what? Okay, so let me give the background here. So the background is Ezekiel 38, and also in Revelations 20, Gog and Magog. So this is a prophecy that the prophet Ezekiel makes. Son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Prophesy against him and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn you around, put hooks in your jaws, and bring you out with your whole army, your horses, your horsemen, fully armored, and a great horde with large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords. Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them, all the shields and helmets. Also Gomer with all its troops, and Beth Togarmah from the far north and all its troops, the many nations with you. Get ready, be prepared, you and all your hordes gathered about you, and take command of them. After many days you will be called to arms. In future years you will invade a land that is recovered from war, whose people were gathered from many nations to the mountains of Israel, which had long been desolate. They've been brought out from the nations, and now all of them live in safety. You and all your troops and many nations with you will go up, advancing like a storm. You will be a cloud covering the land. This is what the sovereign Lord says. On that day, thoughts will come into your mind, and you will devise an evil scheme. You will say, I will invade a land of unwalled villages. I will attack a peaceful and unsuspecting people, all of them living without walls and without gates and bars. I will plunder and loot and turn my hand against the resettled ruins and the people gathered from the nations, rich in livestock and goods, living at the center of the land. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish and all their villages will say to you, have you come to plunder? Have you gathered your hordes to loot, to carry off silver and gold, to take away livestock and gold? Now, it goes on for a while. It's in chapters 38, 39 of Ezekiel. But here's the thing. You got to be, this does reverberate in history, and there are people who think that this is a prophecy that's already taken place, but it's reflected as well in Revelation and suggests a future. Here's what we know. Theologically, war will come against all God's people. And we're looking for the time, and is this now? Is this happening? There does certainly seem to be something afoot. The Christianity, we talk a lot about anti-Semitism because it's certainly in the news and it's a big deal. But the data from not just the State Department, but the United Nations, which isn't exactly friendly to Christians, shows that Christians are the most persecuted people on planet Earth right now. In Africa, the Muslims are murdering them. In China, the Chinese are punishing them. Remember, there are more Christians in China than there are total Americans. Around the world, Christians are being persecuted. And so a lot of people look at the prophecy of Gog and Magog. They look at the echo of it in Revelation. They say, this is now. And look, they're They're warming up in the Middle East. They're going to go after Israel. I mean, the Scripture's pretty clear that the final days will ultimately come to a big battle there. But I would caution you against reading too much into present events. Because, one, Scripture's pretty clear we don't know when the second coming is. Two, there are echoes throughout history of these things, and you could put your finger on different ones. But this is the largest reason I caution people about looking at these prophecies and suggesting that now is the time. Because when you look at the prophecies in Scripture and you say, maybe this is the time, maybe this is it, maybe this is the battle, maybe this is coming, what you tend to look at is the fight. And you tend to worry about the war. And if this all descends to hell in a handbasket, are my kids going to get called up? Are my kids going to be drafted? Am I going to die? Is my family going to die? You know, I'll be real honest with you. I have enormous anxiety about a future war. And my anxiety is because of my wife. Because she takes a medicine. Without it, she would die. What happens if war comes to the supply chains and the disruptions? That gives me anxiety. It does. But, you know, worry can disrupt your faith, but faith can disrupt your worry. And my point here, Ryan, is that when you start looking at these things, when you try to analyze it, when you try to say, is this the time? Is this the fight? You look at what's going to happen, and I mean, it looks bad. Except you forget that in the end, you're on the winning team. So when you're trying to analyze these things and you're trying to figure out, is this Gog and Magog? Is this the final battle? Is this the beginning of the end? Is this part of the apocalypse? Is this part of Armageddon? Is this going to be where the tide turns? You forget that in the end, you're on the winning team and everything works out. I will restore the fortunes. This is how the prophecy of Gog and Magog ends. At the sacrifice I am preparing for you, you will eat fat till you are glutted, and drink blood till you are drunk at my table. You will eat your fill of horses and riders, mighty men and soldiers of every kind. I will display my glory among the nations, and all the nations will see the punishment I inflict and the hand I lay on them. From the day forward, the people of Israel will know I am the Lord their God, and the nations will know that the people of Israel went into exile for their sin, because they were unfaithful to me. So I hid my face from them and handed them over to their enemies, and they all fell by the sword. I dealt with them according to their uncleanliness and their offenses, and I hid my face from them. Therefore, this is what I, the sovereign Lord, say. I will restore the fortunes of Jacob, and I will have compassion on the people of Israel, and I will be zealous for my holy name. And they will forget their shame and all the unfaithfulness they showed toward me when they lived in safety in their lands, and no one will make them afraid. When I have brought them back from the nations and have gathered them from the countries of their enemies, I will be proved holy through them in the sight of many nations. Then they will know that I am the Lord their God. So when you spend so much time focusing on the prophecy and the war, the tendency for people is to forget the outcome. And the outcome is in your favor and on your side. Doesn't mean bad things aren't going to happen. Doesn't mean there aren't going to be disruptions. But when you get focused on the disruptions and the war and the violence, you often forget that God's still sovereign and in control. So just I tend to think of the Gog and Magog prophecy as a past event, but it rumbles and echoes through history, and you will certainly see things that remind you of it. History tends to, in ways, rhyme, not necessarily repeat itself. We do see an alignment against God's people coming. I mean, that's part of Revelation. We see it. We see what's happening in the Middle East and the instability there that's growing. We see the situation between Pakistan and India now, both nuclear powers. And we see China and Russia, North Korea, Iran all playing well together and actually on the battlefield in Ukraine helping the Russians. All these sorts of things happening. People get a little worried about it. They worry where it's headed. I read the end of the book. It involves a guy on a white horse with a sword and Johnny Cash singing backup music, and everything works out in the end the way it's supposed to work out for all God's people. So be careful when you try to tie these things together and look at current events that you don't miss the end, which is the good thing. Now, let me tell you about Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them, and you can save $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. So the Eden Pure Thunderstorm I actually had it in my hotel room last night, and I used it. Unusually so. It was a brand new hotel, and there was fresh paint in my hotel room. I'm actually allergic to paint fumes. I get nosebleeds from paint fumes, and I fired up my Eden Pure Thunderstorm in the hotel room last night, and it got rid of the paint fumes. It just works so well. You can get 3 of them and save $200. I say I travel with it. The thing, you can hold it in your hand. You plug it into the wall. You can plug it up with a USB cord if you need to. In a car, it gets rid of smoke odors. If you're rented a car and someone has smoked in it or something, it works. It gets rid of dust, pollen. It gets rid of bacteria and viruses. It gets rid of smells. EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. You'll get 3 of them. You'll save $200. They really do work. You went upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, your RV, wherever you need them. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Cool-Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Heads up downtown. They're holding the right side of the interstate, 7585 northbound University Avenue, exit 244. Trying to get a crash out of the center lanes. That's why you're slow back to Highway 166, Langford Parkway. Southbound delays from the 85-400 merge down to North Avenue. And up in coming out of Alpharetta into Forsyth County, we still got this crash. 400 southbound Windward Parkway, exit 11, blocking a lane. You're slow from McFarland Parkway. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Build a self-care routine at Whole Foods Market. Save 33% on body care and candles with Prime through May 13th while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is Chris Chandler. Monday starting at 5 on Atlanta's Morning News. How's the work week looking in our 5-day forecast? And why Clark Howard thinks the kids, they're going to be all right on WSB.
So you're losing your hair and you need a simple solution that works, but you want the best. It's Mark Aram here. Modern technology, top-rated physicians. You want something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair's completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to the unmatched results they produce. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, address them all with a simple one-day treatment in a calm, relaxed environment with experienced pros. Advanced Hair has performed tens of thousands of breakthrough advanced FUE treatments, and get this, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day. No one else in Atlanta can offer the advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair. Fix your hair loss today, starting with your free consultation, and you'll also get $500 off if you move forward. Call 470-660-HAIR. Refine your hairline with a team that's redefined hair restoration. And don't forget to ask about that Advanced Hair Guarantee, 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
At Ameris Bank, we know it's never just business when it's your business. So we're here to be your partner. Whether you're launching a startup, expanding locations, or managing daily finances at your company, you can do it all with a committed financial partner on your side. Our expert business bankers are ready to empower you on your financial journey. We're Ameris Bank, and we're fiercely yours. Visit your local branch or learn more at amerisbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
You can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Select varieties or buy 2, get 2 free with your card. Limit 8. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I love my home, and now I found a company that loves it as much as I do. TE Certified Electrical Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Chris Chandler here. These folks know great service starts with a job well done and ends with a smile. I found all that out for myself as a customer. It was a 5-star customer experience. Technicians really knew their stuff. They were enthusiastic, they were fast, they were efficient. The communication was top-notch. They kept me informed every step of the way, starting with the exact time they were going to get there. And they even followed up after the service. You don't always get that, as you know. TE Certified has more than 20,000 5-star reviews, and they've been serving Atlanta for decades. You can schedule with them easily online. Really, I just put myself in their hands, and TE Certified handled everything perfectly. That kind of peace of mind is priceless.
TE Certified, we love your home.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Giving you the truth, not the talking points. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Friends, I'm in need of a new director of digital operations. Philip left us today. He doesn't realize he's left us yet, but he'll be barred from the building here in a few minutes. So my daughter's here. She's giving me coffee, asked me about the Pearl Jam concert last night. And it's like, I can clearly tell I'm middle-aged now. I go to a Pearl Jam concert, and everybody there is like 50 and up. There were a lot of, 40 and up, I guess I should say. A lot of middle-aged people at the Pearl Jam concert. I definitely felt my age last night. But there's one guy, 24, from Australia, following Pearl Jam around. I don't know how he's got the money to do it, but very nice guy. I met him, and so Philip comes bounding down the hall and says, just because they're younger than you doesn't mean they're young. Fired. Pack your stuff and get out. What a jerk. Oh, my goodness. But, yeah, it was a fun concert. I really do like Pearl Jam. The buddy I was with, Eric, who's a great golfer, too, is a huge Pearl Jam fan. Goes to their concerts all over the country. I, myself, do not travel for concerts, and I've never been to a Pearl Jam concert. I actually got invited to one at Red Rocks, and it got canceled because of COVID, and I was going to fly out and see it. It would have been a great concert. It was for friends and family. I got invited by a well-placed person, and then it didn't work out. My daughter, however, she's a Pearl Jam fan, and my son has Pearl Jam in his playlist, so I feel like my kids are embracing good music. My wife is not a Pearl Jam fan. She's like, I don't understand what they're saying. That's kind of the charm, is you don't necessarily understand what they're saying. But it was a good concert. They dive deep and they play some of their good old tunes. All right, we got more stuff to talk about when we come back. Ryan got me distracted by Gog and Magog. When we come back, I do actually want to talk about what Mark Zuckerberg has said about AI friends. People, they want more companions. They want more connections. I don't know that that's actually the case. And, I know Mark, and I don't know whether I want to reach out or not and say, I don't know that this is the right direction. But I don't know that it is. I think we need more real, live human beings. Interestingly enough, I can't play it because it's a 10-minute long clip, but Frank Luntz was on CNBC as well, talking about Donald Trump and his first 100 days. And he makes some very good points that are way more nuanced. And one of the things that I keep coming back to is the Harry Hinton clip that I played yesterday, that people are not necessarily happy with a lot of what Donald Trump is doing on the economy right now, but they still prefer him to the Democrats. And I don't think the Democrats appreciate that Trump, his popularity is suffering because of his actions, not because of their actions. People would still prefer him to them. That matters. We'll get into that. But first, I got to tell you about Omaha Steaks, because they've got a great deal for smash burgers. You want 16 smash burgers for free? You can put them on your grill. You don't need a griddle. You can put them on a grill. You can use them in a skillet as well, and they're just good, and there's 16 of them for free. It's the great grill out package from Omaha Steaks. You go to omahasteaks.com, and then you put in the /smash. So omahasteaks.com / and the word smash, S-M-A-S-H. And you get 16 of the Omaha Steak smash burgers for free. And if you're not familiar with the smash burger, what is it? It's the burger that it's kind of thin, and you get it on a hot griddle or grill, and it gets nice and kind of crispy brown on both sides, and you can stack them together to get just a normal-sized burger. You get cheese on both of them. They're delicious. They've got such great beefy flavor from Omaha Steaks. They've been doing this since 1917. They know what they're doing. They know beef. Then you can get chicken and poultry and everything else there as well. But right now, if you go to omahasteaks.com /smash, You get 16 smash burgers for free. You get their gourmet jumbo franks, caramel apple tartlets. You get some other burgers as well. It's also good. omahasteaks.com/smash. 16 free smash burgers.
At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we're committed to saving our members money by offering the most competitive interest rates in the market. Now, auto loan rates are as low as 4.49 APR. But if you open an account with a direct deposit, we'll knock your rate down a whole %, as low as 3.49 APR. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union. Save money on your auto loan and experience kinder banking at a branch near you.
Contact 706-235-8551 for more details. Equal Opportunity Lender.
One of the biggest repairs on your biggest investment would be the foundation on your home. Mark Beckham here with Atlanta Ramjack. Other companies offer many different services and then try to upsell their customers something they don't even need. That's not what Atlanta Ramjack does. Foundation repair is all we do. We send only the most trained experts in the field and give you the best materials and an honest appraisal of what your real problem is, not more than what you need. Schedule your free estimate today at atlantaramjack.com.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. Nearly 8 months after the shooting at Appalachia High School, phone threats are made to several schools in Barrow County today, forcing a soft lockdown.
Threats were called into 5 elementary schools and a high school. A front office worker hit the panic button when the first call came in. Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith says it triggered a lot of emotions for a community still healing.
Give these kids and these parents and these loved ones a break. Whoever's doing this is a sick individual.
He says they're working to find out who's responsible. His message to that person?
You better hope I don't catch you.
Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
And a search of the schools finds there was no credible threat. It is 84 degrees in Atlanta. Some areas, though, getting pelted with heavy rain and storms this afternoon. The north side of the metro area getting most of the activity at this hour. Right now, there are no active severe weather warnings in effect right now for Metro Atlanta. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. A high school student is arrested in Cherokee County for bringing a gun to school.
This latest weapon brought onto a school campus was at River Ridge High School, which is located near Arnold Mill Road in Woodstock. A statement from the school was posted on their website, and an email was sent out to parents alerting them that a student at the school was found in possession of a handgun on the campus this morning. School officials say the Cherokee County School District Police Department took the student into custody without incident, but he'll face serious violations from both the school and law enforcement. Daphne Young, 95.5 WSP.
A new report from the Atlanta-based CDC finds more children in the U.S. have died this flu season than at any time since the swine flu pandemic 15 years ago. The CDC reports 216 pediatric deaths, which tops the 207 last flu season. One infectious disease expert says a big factor is that fewer children are getting flu shots. The money transfer service Zelle is experiencing an outage today. According to Down Detector, users reported not being able to send money from bank to bank. Zelle says they are aware certain users at some financial institutions are not able to use the service. Georgia Tech's commencement speaker is promising to cover the incorporation costs for any graduate launching a startup business. Christopher Klaus says it's deeply personal for him since he lost his son a year ago.
In honor of my son, we are gifting each one of you a free Delaware C Corporation to start your own entrepreneurial journey.
While still a student at Georgia Tech, Klaus founded Internet Security Systems, which went public and was later acquired by IBM for nearly $2 billion. It is now 2:02. This news sponsored by Bread Beckers.
QC Kinetics provided amazing pain relief for a former professional baseball player, and you have access to the same life-changing treatments as retired pitcher Jose Alvarez.
I put a lot of stress and strain and work on my right arm, but my right elbow took most of the damage with 3 surgeries.
Arthritis developed and the pain was unbearable.
It wasn't just pain when I was trying to play sports. It was anytime I was moving the right elbow. It was pretty excruciating at times.
That's when Jose discovered QC Kinetics and their regenerative treatments that help the body heal itself, restoring damaged tissue and providing relief with no surgery or downtime. Jose's message to the medical professionals at QC Kinetics?
My elbow is feeling outstanding. Where were you 10 years ago, for crying out loud?
QC Kinetics is right here. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026. 770-285-8026.
Hi, it's Tim Andrews for My Roofer FGA Roofing. Are you considering a new roof but not sure when you'll be able to get it in the budget? FGA Roofing is offering a 000 offer this month. 0 down payment, 0 interest for 12 months, and 0 monthly payments. Search FGA Roofing for a free quote today.
We've got trade wars, inflation, skyrocketing national debt, and a potential recession looming. It's no wonder gold keeps hitting record highs. With everything going on in the world, thousands of hard-working Americans are looking to diversify their savings with precious metals like gold and silver. And they're turning to the top-rated gold company, Gold Co. With over 6,000 five-star customer reviews, an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, and the industry's highest buyback guarantee, Gold Co. is the preferred precious metals company of thousands of Americans. Right now, Gold Co. is offering you a free 2025 gold and silver kit. Plus, you could get unlimited bonus silver if you qualify. Find out how you can help diversify your savings, tax and penalty free today. Visit HannityGold.com or call 855-815-GOLD. That's HannityGold.com or call 855-815-GOLD.
Our weather is so unpredictable and your roof takes all the abuse. If it needs repair or replacement, think of Findlay First, the roof guys, the perfect match for any roofing issues. Schedule your free roof analysis at FindlayRoofing.com.
Roof. At 2:05, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Still dealing with this crash out of Forsyth heading toward Alpharetta. It's on 400 southbound just before Windward Parkway exit 11. 1 to 2 right lanes are blocked as they try to tow this away. You're slow from McFarland Parkway. No big need for an alternate. Downtown crash pushed off to the right, 75-85 northbound at University Avenue. Southbound delays filling in for the Friday afternoon from the 85-400 merge as you make your way south past the Varsity in North Avenue. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, warm and muggy today, high 82. Watching for scattered rain showers and thunderstorms for late this evening. Rain showers continue into early tomorrow morning, lows in the low 60s. Another round of heavy rain and thunderstorms for tomorrow evening, daytime high 74.
No severe storms in the metro at this moment. It's 82 in East Point, 69 in Duluth, 78 in Dallas. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is chill.
Dwight, dude, you gotta take a chill pill, man.
CHILL. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is chill.
They don't want to take the chill pill.
CHILL. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Greetings, conversationalists. It is Eric Erickson here across America. The phone number 877-973-7425 should you wish to be on the program. It is an open line Friday. You can text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 3777. Get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, the social media links. We got a lot. I want to talk about this. Wasn't going to, but I think I actually do want to. And it's Friday. We'll get to Marjorie Taylor Greene's tweet here in a minute. Mark Zuckerberg was on a podcast talking about having digital companions, AI friends, in our isolated age. You know, there was a great piece I talked about the other day from Ross Douthat about an age of extinction that we're upon, and it's an age of extinction unlike others in that it's extinction by choice. And I have rapidly moved over time to the position that our obsession with all things digital in our digital lives is actually not a good thing. And I would encourage Meta and Facebook, instead of having digital companions for us, to actually find ways to make it easier for us to have real-world companions and to connect us to people. You know, one of the criticisms of Facebook is that you are suddenly now find yourself friends with people you hadn't seen 20 or 30 years ago. And sometimes you don't want to be friends with them still, and you are. But what about seeking the welfare of the community in which you live? Now, I realize this is somewhat philosophical, not necessarily political, but just bear with me here. I want you to think about the Masters. We don't need to relive the Masters. Rory McIlroy finally getting his Grand Slam, winning his 4 majors, the historic event of it. We don't need to, I mean, we could. It was pretty awesome. But what's the thing people note about the Masters? It's no cell phones allowed. You know, on practice days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the Masters, you can bring a camera. You still can't bring a cell phone. You cannot bring your cell phone. You can bring a camera. In fact, there's a reporter who for the last 5 years has bought Kodak disposable cameras and does a very good job with the disposable cameras, taking some pretty cool pictures with the disposable film camera. And people remember it. My son had this remarkable experience. We went year before last to the Masters. And my son still talks about how odd in a good way it was that while we were there, neither of us had our cell phone. We couldn't check it. He couldn't stare at his phone. He had to be in the moment. He had to be present. He had to watch. He had to pay attention. He had to interact with the people around him and make conversation with people. And he liked it. You talk to people who go to the Masters and like, why don't we do this more often? I myself am guilty. I'm a phone addict, and I've got to remember when I'm with my family sometimes I got to put my phone away. I gotta be present with my family. And I think the more we are digital, the more we are engaged in a digital divide, the more we are present online instead of offline, the worse our mental health gets. The more people are prone to despair. Just think about, one of the criticisms in New York Magazine, this John Fetterman piece on his mental health is how the more he's gotten on Twitter, the more people around him suggest, say that his mental health is not doing well. I can tell you that I get more frustrated in life and feel the mood swings when I'm following the play-by-play on Twitter. Why are people like this? Why are people doing this? Why are people saying this? It drives me kind of crazy, and I got to unplug from it. Do you know your next door neighbor? Do you know your next door neighbor? Do you have any idea who they are? You live in an apartment. Do you know who lives next door to you in the apartment or across the hall from you in the apartment? Do you have interaction with those people? Do you know who your next door neighbor is? The guy across the street. Do you know him? More and more, the answer is no. I mentioned earlier in the show that there is a copious bit of research about people who are regular church attendees. Now, this applies to temple and synagogue as well, but primarily focused on the Christian community in the United States, people who self-identify as Christians versus people who regularly go to church. And by regularly go to church, it's not I'm there every Sunday, but it is I'm there most Sundays. It is I'm plugged into my church community. The people who do that live longer, are more likely to survive heart attacks and strokes, have better mental health, have lower divorce rates, have lower rates of suicide and depression and despair. And that data is consistent and has been for years. And again, I'm not talking about someone who says I go to church. I'm not talking about someone who says I'm a Christian. I'm talking about the people who actually do go to church, who are plugged in. They have less depression, less despair, less suicide, less health impacts, negative health impacts, more likely to survive negative health impacts, tend to have better outlook on life, tend to be happier, tend to live longer. They're plugged in to a real-world community. It's why after COVID, the danger of so many people developing a connection to an online church, an online community, it's not the same thing. If you're engaged online with the church, you are not actually engaged in a church. A church is a communal gathering of people in your location to seek the welfare of that community and to pray for it, because there you'll find your welfare. And when the digital strategists and the websites and the technologists of our age are like, hey, we're going to give you more companionship online. We're going to allow you to have friends online. We're going to connect you to people online. That's actually the worst thing we can do. That gets to the Ross Douthat point about an extinction level event. We are choosing to go extinct. The people who are more online, particularly the young people who are more online, are less likely to have relationships. They are less likely to have sex. They are less likely to have children. They are less likely to get married. They are less likely to be happy. They are less likely to be able to survive the impacts of depression and despair. We need to be less online. We need to be less online. You know, so there's a tie-in here, and it works against me. It actually works against me, and I'm okay with it. You should understand. There is a lot of data about radio, and the data on radio suggests that the more likely, the more engaged you are as a radio station in your local community, the better the ratings are. So it actually, I'm my flagship station is WSB in Atlanta. I engage with WSB Atlanta. I do a lot of stuff for WSB beyond just my show. And I'm local there, but I'm also a nationally syndicated host. I'm on 70 stations around the country right now and hoping to be on several hundred. But the move in radio is the radio stations that do the best are the ones that are the most local, that cater to the local community, that plug people in to the local community. And they're not wrong. I mean, the data is very clear that particularly among music stations, the music stations that are the most plugged in to the local community doing local events are the ones that do the best. Peter Thiel is a program director. Actually, I'm on one of his stations out in Missouri. And he has long been an advocate for local radio voices. I saw a column at Barrett Media the other day. He had written on radio, and people say nobody listens to the radio, and actually a lot of people listen to radio. A lot of radio stations raising hundreds of thousands, if not millions, for local hospitals. But it's the local commitment. When radio stations, when music stations, when they go to the AI voice tracks or just the voice tracks, when they're sterile, they're not local, they're not plugged into the community, the ratings dip down. People want that local connection. And so a guy like me, I can be a syndicated host, and midday is probably the perfect time to have a syndicated show where you're covering the breaking news nationally that people are interested in, but you still got to show up. I'm going to WEEB in Southern Pines next week. I'm going back to Oklahoma. We'll be in Louisiana, going to Florida as well, going to see our stations, going to be president of the stations, going to be engaged in local markets because people want that. And the same is true of you. If you're online all the time, you are going to be more subject to bouts of depression. You're going to have higher anxiety. You're going to be less plugged into your community. You're going to actually have a negative view of your community more than people who are offline. And that's one of the more interesting statistics out there. The more online you are, the more negative your view of the world around you is. Think about the bubbles. So let's just look at the Democrats as a good example of this, and not to be partisan here where I'm trying to avoid it, but just follow along with me here. The data for the Democrats shows they believe that if the election were held today, Kamala Harris would win because of all the Trump people who now regret voting for Donald Trump. You hear that recycled on MSNBC. There are talking heads on CNN who say it. It comes up on The View. Wherever the left is, they say it. It's actually not true. If the election were held today, Donald Trump would win. In fact, Harry Hitton on CNN had that data yesterday, that if the election were held today, 45 for Trump, 43 for Harris. Who do you think would be doing a better job right now? 45 for Trump, 43 for Harris. Who do you think will do a better job on the economy? An 8-point advantage for Donald Trump, even as a majority of Americans say they want him to drop tariffs. But the Democrats in their bubble, they have this idea, and it's simply not true. You get online, you get in a bubble, you build an online world of people who think like you. It gets into groupthink, and you all despair about the same thing. You detach yourself from the reality of the world around you. You do not appreciate where you live. You become more depressed. You become more fatalistic. You become a nihilist. It's not healthy to be online all the time. I have to remind myself to unplug online. I'm telling you, so few people will ever get to go to the Masters. I probably will never get invited back. That's okay. I experienced heaven once. But it really was remarkable to not have a cell phone. And you know, the funny thing is that I'm one of those people who can feel my phone vibrating in my pocket even when my phone's not there. I guess it's that much of an addiction. It's wild to be grounded in the present without technology. C.S. Lewis, in Screwtape Letters, I mentioned this before, the 15th Screwtape Letter, the demons are advising each other that you got to keep people grounded in the past or the future, preferably the future, because the future is imaginary, and when you get there and it's not like what you imagined, you're prone to despair. And he says, above all, Screwtape does to Wormwood, above all, keep man out of the present, because the present is the most like eternity, because the present is where God is. You're not in the present if you're staring at your phone. You're in a digital space. You're not living in the present in a digital space. You're living in the present where I am. I can look out my window. I can see the cars crossing the bridge. I can hear the rumblings of a train coming. I can see the homeless man on the street corner and wonder what his deal is. I can see the people walking into a courthouse. I see people, not digital apparitions of people. And I'm telling you, if you want to improve your mental health, if you are struggling with depression right now, turn the computer and the cell phone off. Live in the present. Get involved in a local nonprofit. I saw Jimmy Carr, the comedian. He's his terribly dark sense of humor. It's a very twisted sense of humor. I love him because it's my sense of humor. I saw him. If you go follow me on Instagram, it's in my stories right now, where he says, we are the most advanced society ever. 100 years ago, any person you admired from 100 years ago, they didn't even take a hot shower. They couldn't. Didn't exist. And yet we're also the most prone to despair and most unhappy because it's all subjective. We see everybody else. We want to keep up with them. We don't have what they have. We're a jealous society that makes us despair. Stop being envious. And one of the best ways to do it is to just get offline. Go learn to love your neighbor. Be in your community. This idea of digital companionship, it's not a good or healthy thing for society.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Looks like we might have some new trouble. I'm going to scan the jam cam for this one. 85 northbound. It's getting extra slow from 285 up to Jimmy Carter Boulevard, exit 99. We'll see what's cooking there. Earlier crash out of Forsyth County into Alpharetta. Just cleared out of the right lanes. 400 southbound Windward Parkway, exit number 11. And if you're traveling downtown, that Friday volume is packed in southbound from the 85-400 merge. Northbound crash pushed off to the right. 75-85 northbound at University Avenue. Traffic brought to you by Mattress Firm. Get matched and sleep at night. Get matched and sleep at night during Mattress Firm's Upgrade Your Sleep sale. Take 120 nights to love in your new bed or your money back. Restrictions apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is chill.
Dwight, dude, you gotta take a chill pill, man.
CHILL. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is chill.
They don't want to take the chill pill.
CHILL. Join me live at 3 for the Von Haessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
For many of you, it's happening. Your hair's thinning, your crown's disappearing, and maybe hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. Well, I got good news. It's Advanced Hair's incredible, yet simple, one-day treatment that starts regrowing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's Mark Aaron back with you. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what about regrowing your hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to their world-class physicians, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and I've seen their results, friends. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 470-660-HAIR. That's 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science, targeting cancer at the molecular level, with teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count, with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, could be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to carsforkids.org today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
You're probably careful with your personal information. But what about the other places that have it? Like the doctor's office that mixed up your files? They have your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info and last 3 addresses. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport info. Your information is in endless places outside of your control. Any one of them could accidentally expose you to hackers and identity theft through lax security, breaches, or simple mistakes. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second and alerts you to a wide range of threats. If your identity is stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed or your money back with plans covering up to $3 million for stolen funds and expenses. Mistakes happen. Don't let not having protection be one of them. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com with promo code NEWS. That's promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com to save up to 40%. Terms apply.
We were ready to sell, but I got so overwhelmed with everything that needed to be done. Accepting the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate shortened my to-do list.
Hi, this is Mark Spain. With the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can sell your home stress-free and receive the strongest cash offer in the industry. With our guaranteed offer, there are no showings, no open houses, and no stress.
And the value of getting all of my time back that I would have spent on home repairs, priceless.
Go to markspain.com to receive a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Certain restrictions apply.
Looking for the perfect engagement ring? At Shane Company, we know this is an exciting time. It can also be overwhelming. Customers say this a lot. Where do I start? How do I choose? At Shane Company, this is where the magic happens. Since 1929, we've been experts at helping customers find the perfect engagement ring. We invite you into the design process, help you pick out the perfect diamond or colorful gemstone, and choose a style that speaks to you. Come see us in store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Hello there, welcome. It is Erick Erickson here. Phone number 877-973-7425. I can squeeze in Paul from Bethany, Oklahoma. Welcome to the show, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Sure. What's going on?
I'm a little. I don't know if I should be concerned. I'm just scrolling online, and to your point on your last segment, the people that are out to destroy President Trump and conservatism in general. I don't understand how so early in his presidency people are forgetting that are aberrant supporters of the Democrats are forgetting the last 4 years and completely ignoring it. I've pretty much eviscerated their party in the comment section. I expected to hear something. Nobody said anything. I haven't heard a whisper.
Oh, Paul, I mean, the Democrats, like the man they had in charge of the country, they've got dementia over the last 4 years. I wish I could play the whole 10-minute conversation that Andrew Ross Sorkin had with Frank Lutz, because Lutz kind of gets into this, that the Republicans, They don't have the glide path they seem to think they have, but the Democrats have an even worse situation because the American public, they're not happy right now with the present economic trajectory based on tariffs because Americans view them as taxes, but they remember the last 4 years, they're still willing to give Donald Trump a chance. The only people who aren't willing to give Donald Trump a chance are the broken members of the media who never liked him to begin with, and the Democratic Party who is there to oppose him. But given the choice of returning to the Democrats or sticking with Donald Trump, the American public would far prefer to stick with Donald Trump and give him a chance. I mean, again, I say this repeatedly, and Democrats have a hard time understanding this. I know so many people, including callers to this program, who are frustrated, upset, or disappointed with various aspects of what Donald Trump is doing. Not a single one of them regrets voting for him, and every single one of them would vote for him again. People can be multifaceted there. Now, you can get multifaceted education at Hillsdale College if you go to ericforhillsdale.com and sign up for one of 40 courses from Hillsdale College. ericforhillsdale.com. They have classes on politics and philosophy, theology, literature, the English language, mathematics, chemistry, economics. They've got a great one on capitalism that everybody should take right now, on the moral value of capitalism and how it builds a moral value in society. It is a great class. Every class at Hillsdale is great. You can do it at your own pace. Each class comes with a certificate of completion when you're done with the classes. They're all video series. They're divided into easily digestible segments. You do them all, you get the certificate of completion, and you never pay a penny. It's all free. It's part of Hillsdale's ongoing mission since 1833 to educate Americans where they are and educate them, not indoctrinate them. It's ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. Great classes. Take the one on the Constitution, too. ericforhillsdale.com. Go check them out today.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A scare today at Barrow County Schools just 8 months after the shooting at Appalachia High School. Someone phones in a threat to an elementary school, triggering an emergency response.
Multiple people responded to that location, and as we were doing that, we began getting other threats at other locations. And as of right now, we've had 4 other elementary schools and 1 high school that received those threats.
Sheriff Judd Smith says that leads to a soft lockdown of all schools, which was lifted just before noon. There was no credible threat. An investigation now underway to determine where the call came from. A high school student in Cherokee County is arrested for bringing a gun to school. Parents at River Ridge High School receive an email telling them the student was in possession of a handgun on campus. The Cherokee County Sheriff's Department takes the student into custody without incident, and that student now faces serious consequences from the school and law enforcement. Despite all the talk about tariffs and a possible recession, Jim Ryan reports investors are pleasantly surprised by today's new jobs report.
Non-farm payroll surged ahead last month by 177,000, well ahead of analyst predictions and in line with job creation over the past year. The Bureau of Labor Statistics also reassessed and adjusted the figure for March, revising the 228,000 positions it initially reported downward to 185,000.
Another sign today, the Catholic Church is moving closer to selecting a new pope. Vatican firefighters installing the chimney that will signal to the world when a new pope is selected. Millions will be watching for the white smoke above the Sistine Chapel when the conclave begins in 5 days. It is now 2:32, and this news is sponsored by FGA Roofing.
This Mother's Day, don't just buy a gift, make one. Only at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, you can build mom a one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry, designed by you, crafted by our master jewelers. And here's how it works. Pick a ring, bracelet, or necklace from our Mother's Day collection, pick the birthstones that represent your family, and our master jewelers hand set them into something that's hers forever. Prices start at just $3.95, so come build your own Mother's Day jewelry only at D. Geller & Son, in Kennesaw, Sandy Springs, and online at dgeller.com.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, you can save on large avocados or delicious mangoes. They're just $1.49 each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
At Ameris Bank, we know it's never just business when it's your business. So we're here to be your partner. Whether you're launching a startup, expanding locations, or managing daily finances at your company, you can do it all with a committed financial partner on your side. Our expert business bankers are ready to empower you on your financial journey. We're Ameris Bank, and we're fiercely yours. Visit your local branch or learn more at amerisbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Thanks to Traffic Trooper Jay and several others that told me about this stall, and now I see it on the jam cam in Norcross, 85 northbound, Jimmy Carter Boulevard, exit 99. It's in the center lane, slowing the ride from 285, also starting to impact the 285 east and northbound ramps, 285 northbound, 75 north and southbound in the northwest part of town. You're on and off the brakes in both directions between Marietta and Kennesaw, just Friday volume there. Southbound into town getting even slower from Lenox Road and Buckhead, trying to make your way down into Midtown. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Heavy rain right now in Cherokee County. Nothing severe at the moment in metro Atlanta. 81 in Marietta, 68 in Sugar Hill, 82 in Fayetteville. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
All right. Here's where I'm going to go. Charlie, you can go on and close out the phones after these calls, because I want to take these calls, and then I got to get into Marjorie Taylor Greene's tweet that she has just put up. Jim in Palm Coast, Florida, though. First, I want to go to you. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being patient.
Oh, hey, thank you, Eric. Thank you for taking my call. Regarding Signalgate, I'm curious about the backstory as to what transpired between the time of the call and the publication of the Atlantic article. Number one, at what point did the White House have knowledge of Goldberg? You know, was the White House in the dark in entirety? Was there negotiating going on to kill the story? And the second point, if Goldberg remained on that signal chat undiscovered, hoping, you know, to intercept more calls, well, we know he'd be a terrible American at that point.
Yeah.
Evil.
So, you know, Jim.
But what are your explanations, please? And what's the backstory? It sounds like Watergate. What did the White House know, and when did they know it? Thank you, Eric.
So, okay, yeah, absolutely, Jim. I actually have the details here, and a lot of the details, frankly, come from Jeffrey Goldberg, and they're not disputed by the White House. Mike Waltz has done events in the past with Jeffrey Goldberg. He tried to claim that he didn't know him and never done him. Pictures came out of them at events. Clearly, in his cell phone, added him. Most people believe he intended to add someone else and just hit the wrong name. They were probably next to each other based on the person people suspect would have been alphabetically right next to Jeffrey Goldberg in his phone. And so he added Goldberg. Goldberg saw the chat and did stick around for a couple of days in the chat, I believe it was. And then it was Goldberg himself who announced in the chat that he had been mistakenly added and was leaving. And then he wrote about it. And he did not produce all of the screenshots that could have compromised military intelligence until Pete Hegseth and others started insisting they had done nothing wrong and had compromised no military intelligence or anything else. And then he was like, all right, here are the screenshots with some redacted information. I'm not a Jeffrey Goldberg fan. I've been pretty critical of him over the years, but I got to say that he waited until the attack was done to write anything publicly. He did reveal himself in the chat and unsubscribe himself. Didn't leave it going. In fact, he got attacked by a lot of journalists for walking out of the chat and doing this as opposed to what he could have learned. But he protected himself. Now, you should note the reward to Jeffrey Goldberg from the White House for doing what he did and not revealing or compromising intelligence is Jeffrey Goldberg got invited to interview the president the other day. So he got rewarded for not sabotaging the Houthi operation. And so that I think to a degree is commendable that the White House was willing to do this. And if it was really that bad and nefarious and all that, they wouldn't have given Goldberg an interview with the president. Mark, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show, Mark. How are you?
Hey, good, Eric. How are you? Thanks for having me on the call. Hey, one thing I've noticed, and it's just kind of a funny thing. I don't know if I've just missed something or not, but whenever there's talk about what's going on in Ukraine and how it might get wrapped up, one phrase that's always thrown out there is just and lasting peace. And that seems pretty nebulous to me. You never hear a description of it, so you never really know what would make one side satisfied or not. And I'm just wondering, have you ever come across something that kind of sounds like maybe a pretty well agreed upon definition of just and lasting peace, or does anybody ever describe it for themselves? Because it's hard to know where anybody thinks that situation ended up, whether the U.S., Ukraine, the Europeans, Russia. Nobody ever really
Nobody
wants to give a
knows.
description.
No, Mark, I think that's the poll-tested, mother-approved phrase that they use, but the reality is nobody knows what it means. In fact, Mark, your call is the perfect segue here. I really got to get to this with Marjorie Taylor Greene. She has put up this very long tweet. And you gotta, when you've lost Marjorie Taylor Greene, you may have some problems. If you're the president of the United States and Marjorie Taylor Greene is mad and blowing up on Twitter, you may have to consider it. She says, this is her tweet, I'm just going to read it word for word. I represent the base. And when I'm frustrated and upset over the direction of things, you better be clear the base is not happy. I campaign for no more foreign wars. And now we are supposedly on the verge of going to war with Iran. I don't think we should be bombing foreign countries. And then she goes in on Ukraine. She writes, we're supposedly on the verge of bombing, going to war with Iran. I don't think we should be bombing foreign countries on behalf of other foreign countries, especially when they have their own nuclear weapons and massive military strength. And on top of that, now we are told that we have signed a deal for mineral rights in Ukraine in order to pay us back for the hundreds of billions of dollars that we gave Ukraine, and they used the money for money laundering, sold the weapons we gave them to our enemies, and their leader is a dictator who canceled elections, was involved in the first impeachment of Trump, and campaigned for Biden. Didn't we learn our lesson when we went to war in Iraq and killed Saddam Hussein because of weapons of mass destruction? Did we ever find any? And did any of that oil over in the Middle East make us rich? The answer is no. We are $36 trillion in debt today. So why on earth would we go over and occupy Ukraine and spend an untold amount of future American taxpayer dollars defending and mining their minerals, as well as potentially putting American lives at risk in a future war? Why don't we just mine our own rare earth minerals that are tied up on federal lands that the government confiscated years ago? I also campaigned on accountability for the communist and tyrannical acts made by the government during COVID, yet the COVID vaccine still has FDA approval, even though there are millions reported injuries and deaths, and this mRNA vaccine is known to have horrific side effects and does not stop people from catching COVID, she writes in all caps. And to this day, I'm still on the childhood vaccine schedule. Why on earth is this happening? Hasn't Big Pharma made enough billions and billions and billions of dollars on this lie? I also campaigned on accountability for all the lawfare that has been waged against the American people in the past 4 years. What about all the people that were locked up in jail and the abuse that they went through? And why are those vicious attorneys and judges ever going to be held accountable for the lives they ruined? And I campaign for an end to waste, fraud, and abuse of the American people's hard-earned tax dollars. She actually writes harder tax dollars. I believe the DOGE mission is one of the most important things happening today in our government, and yet where are the rescissions that we should be voting on in Congress? And one of the biggest issues in the nation that I have fought for, and early on I was one of the only ones that took a loud screaming stand against, is the evil transgender assault against our children. Many normal people in this country can't even comprehend how it's allowed to happen to kids who by law can't even get a tattoo, drive, or vote. And how did so many of our teachers turn into the predators themselves that groom children with gender lies? This should be an all-out effort by Republicans to end this insanity. And look at the extreme nature of our rogue judicial system that is so defiant that there are judges that defy our nation's laws and block the deportation of literal enemies of the United States of America. Where is the outrage and moral courage to dispose of this treason? Sadly, not in Congress. And what about election integrity? This should be the most important issue that the Republicans aggressively fight to protect, because without secure elections, protected from illegals voting and protection from stealing our votes, the American people have lost their power. When you're losing MTG, you're losing the base, and Trump isn't on the ballot in the future, so do the math on that. First of all, there's a level of arrogance in her. When you've lost me, you've lost the base. No, you've lost one member of Congress who's a bit of a flake. Many of the things that she actually says in her piece aren't actually true. Some of them are, but not all of them. But she's convinced they're all right. She's got a point on the DOGE mission. And by the way, Congress can't agree on rescinding anything. The transgender issue, the Republicans are being pretty effective on. Trump, through executive orders, is. Unless you're going to impeach the judges, though, you can't do anything about the judges, so good luck on that. Election integrity is best left to the states because it's a state-level issue. Although the SAFE Act has passed the House, it's not going to pass the Senate because it can't get through the filibuster. I'm sorry you're frustrated, MTG, but if you are, that's fine. But here's the thing. The polling doesn't show that the base is frustrated with Donald Trump any more than the polling shows the base is ready to pivot to the Democrats. The Democrats would have you believe that the Republicans are ready to start voting Democrat because they're unsatisfied with Donald Trump. And Marjorie Taylor Greene would have you believe that they're ready to abandon everything. And then Trump isn't on the ballot in the future, so do the math on that. What is that supposed to be? There's going to be some party rebellion? There already was, and it got us Donald Trump. Are you suggesting you're unhappy with J.D. Vance there? You're going to be disloyal? It's very notable that her frustration is building, and there is a segment of the base that I suspect does reflect her frustrations, but also, you know what? You can't always get what you want. Donald Trump actually isn't a dictator. It is gridlock that is a feature of
246, Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. WSB's own Ashley Frasca spots a new crash, 575 southbound, 6s Road, exit 11. I see it in that right lane there. Delays are starting to stack up. Maybe consider using Highway 5 as those delays continue to get worse. Elsewhere, stall still in the center lane in Norcross, 85 southbound or 85 northbound, Jimmy Carter Boulevard, exit number 99. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
Online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
Are you serious? The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
OMG! Oh my goodness!
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 5.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz
On 95.5 WSB. All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
But a lot of it she just can't do anything about. You know, DOGE and its rescissions, you got to get Congress to act. I mean, Marjorie, that's on you. I mean, you could prepare a piece of legislation yourself and collect the signatures to get it through the House. You haven't done that, Marjorie. I mean, you're demanding that I represent the base. Well, go do your damn job. Write the rescission package yourself. You don't have to wait for direction from the White House or from the leadership. You are a member of Congress, Marjorie. You yourself can write the law. Instead, you're going through a screed on social media. I'm actually tired, Marjorie, and frustrated with the members of Congress who pontificate on social media and don't do jack. When's the last time you authored the legislation to do any of the crap you're complaining about? Why don't you author legislation, Marjorie, to block funding on the Ukraine deal? Why don't you author legislation, Marjorie, to alter the vaccine schedule? Why don't you author legislation to alter the vaccine schedule, to do the rescission package for DOGE, to ban transgenderism? Why don't you draft the law and work with members of Congress to get it done? Do your job. You're venting your frustration, saying the base isn't happy. All you're doing is complaining, Marjorie, when you're an actual legislator who can actually write legislation and try to build a coalition to get it done instead of going after Trump and the Trump administration and trying to puff up and say, don't you know who I am? I know who you are. You are a member of Congress who has the power to write the legislation to do what you're complaining about, and you hadn't done jack on that. So you do that, and then we can talk. Now, we have to move on to Swiss America because I got to tell you about the secret war on cash. You know, Marjorie, that's another thing you could do is, the government is still trying to control how people purchase things. And it would be nice to have a law that actually makes it very clear that you can't block people from spending their cash. Swiss America's been warning about the secret war on cash for some time. And they would love to educate you on it with a free report you can get from them. They are rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They've been the trusted leader in precious metals in this country for 40 years. They want to help you safeguard your hard-earned cash from the secret war on cash. The report takes less than 15 minutes to read. It can save your retirement and finances. All you got to do to get a free copy is call or text 800-289-2646. The All Out War on Cash includes digital currencies. They're coming for your crypto, and it's growing. So get the Secret War on Cash report free. All you got to do is mention Eric, E-R-I-C-K. When you text 800-289-2646, they'll send you back a link, or you can call them at 800-289-2646. Just mention Eric. They'll send you the free report from Swiss America. 800-289-2646. One more time, 800-289-2646. Call or text. Get the report completely free. Message and data rates may apply.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
250 Cool Rate Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Crash working in Holly Springs, 575 southbound, 6's Road, exit 11. It's in the left lane, or in the right lane, I should say. That's why you're seeing the brake lights there, making your way down toward Woodstock. No big need for an alternate right now. They just blocked and reopened all lanes in Norcross. Got a stall off to the right, 85 northbound, Jimmy Carter Boulevard. 285 westbound, the outer loop. That's getting slower for the Friday afternoon commute, starting right around Chamblee-Dunwoody Road over to Roswell Road, exit 25 in Sandy Springs. And I-20 east and westbound on and off the brakes through the work zone into cab between 285 and the mall at Stonecrest. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When you need to know.
This story is developing in Atlanta.
When you want to know.
Severe weather is on its way.
When you have to know.
We'll alert you as soon as this closure clears.
Get notifications
from your source for news.
Get the WSB Radio app.
Download it from your app store today.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on Portfolio X-Ray or click on Full Retirement Plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
My whole identity had been wrapped up in being a soldier. To have that so violently ripped from me when I was wounded, I was lost for a very long time. When Wounded Warrior Project came into my life, being around the other warriors, people that had similar experiences that I did, it was a game changer for me. Having King join the group, that was the beginning of a really good friendship. But it's a good time.
I first heard about Wounded Warrior Project through CQ. And at first I was kind of like, I don't know if I qualify. But having been a part of it, it's kind of taught me that it's not just the wounds that you can see, but it's those that you can't.
When you do something like a peer support group with Wounded Warrior Project and come together from different walks of life, man, the growth is incredible. If not for Wounded Warrior Project, I really don't think that I'd be here today.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combat stigma.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All the information without the spin. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Greetings, welcome. It is Erick Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Except we've closed the lines because here we're at the end of the show. Let me see if I can squeeze in one more call here. I've been having call screener problems today, not with my call screener, but the call screening app. So it updated it. I updated the call screening app. It said, do you want to update? I was like, well, I guess I need to update. So I updated it. And now every time I log into it, I can click a button and immediately it crashes. So I've been fighting that and having to get into the website, but now it's, you know what, I'm afraid those of you who are on the phones, I'm not going to be able to get to your calls here because, well, the access portal has decided that it no longer wants to work here at the. It's computer problem on my end. It's a gremlin in the update. I had to flag it for the company that they probably need to reissue their update. So sorry about that, but that's all right. We've only got a couple minutes left anyway, and I got time to get into just a couple of more pieces of information for you, including the fact that when you look at the jobs numbers, the Wall Street Journal is now pointing out here this afternoon what I noted in the first hour that I could see in the data, and that is that one of the great upsides of our jobs data right now is that a lot of people are converting from multiple part-time jobs to make 40 hours into one full-time job, which not only provides them stability, but also gets them benefits, because you've got people who have been working 2 or 3 part-time jobs to max out to 40 hours a week, and now suddenly they're able to just have one job that gives them 40 hours and gives them benefits, gives them retirement plans, gives them health care, and we're seeing that uptick in the data. It is employers now are trying to latch on to employees who've shown commitment. You know, there's a tie-in here. My daughter's mentioned, and now I've talked to a couple of executives from some companies, and my daughter had this happen to her with 2 different people. One was from Chick-fil-A, one was from an IT company that was speaking at college at one of the classes she's in. And I've had some employers now tell me that they're doing it for big companies, that when they go talk to colleges now, they're trying to explain to the college students that when you show up to your employer, you're not going to get a pay raise, or you're not going to get promoted the first 2 years. You'll get a cost of living adjustment probably. You might not get a big pay raise. You're not going to get promoted, and you're not going to be in a position to tell the employer your demands. And it's gotten to that point because this particular generation of kids coming out of college seem very entitled. They want to work from home. They want this. They want that. They want this benefit, that benefit. They expect to get regular promotions. They expect to get regular pay raises. And the employers are like now going into college saying, that's not the way the real world works. And in fact, the employers who are making commitments to the employees for the long term are the ones whose employees are showing up early, staying late, not demanding things, not asking for the pay raise, not asking for the promotion. Those are the ones getting the pay raises and the promotions. The ones who don't look entitled but actually have the work ethic, they're the ones who are actually doing well. And it's working. You look at the people who have converted from part-time to full-time work. The ones who are making it work for them are the ones who went in, did the work, never complained, and proved their worth. And now they've got full-time jobs, and you can measure it in the jobs report. That's good for the economy.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
I think it's so cool, and you may have heard about how the Dunwoody police are now using drones when there's an emergency call. And apparently, a lot of times, the drones get to the scene of an alleged crime quicker than a squad car. So it gives a bird's eye view of what's going on at the scene of a potential crime, giving an alert to police officers what kind of situation they're getting into, and provides faster response overall. You think about it, imagine being a police officer and you got a call dispatching you to a location. You have no idea what you're going to find there. And it is so helpful to have the drones be able to do this. And think how fast they can get to a scene. It's a force multiplier, and I hope that more police forces are able to deploy this. I'm Clark Howard.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
At 3 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A stern warning from the sheriff in Barrow County today to the person who called in threats to 6 schools. The scare comes just 8 months after the deadly shooting at Appalachia High.
Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith says whoever is doing this is a sick individual and will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
We're still healing and will continue to heal from what happened at Appalachia. We find someone who is an ignorant, evil person that decided to play a joke on us today.
He says they are working with local, state, and federal authorities to find the person responsible. Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
A search of the schools finds no credible threat. In Cherokee County, a student faces serious consequences for having a gun at school.
School officials at River Ridge